Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids.
Hospital porters' pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV. Welcome to this, the 98th reply to comments video. It's the 98th video in which I get to reply to your comments. Well, why do I make videos replying to comments? Why don't I just reply to the comments, Ben, like everyone else does? I don't have time, not with the number of comments I get. I feel obliged to, because people who comment on my video often do so with a lot of thought and a lot of feeling and a lot of and I feel obliged to respond to them. They put a lot of work into some of their comments and some of the conversations we have, which is like very, very well thought out, and so it would be rude not to. But the problem is I don't have time, so I make these videos. Now you might say, well, what's the point of this, Ben? What's the point of this? Am I expected to watch a 9-hour video just to listen to you reply to one comment that I put on your video, on your last videos? No. You don't have to, because I'll put a timestamp under the comment I'm replying to, telling you within the nearest hour when I'm going to be replying to your comment. So the most you've got to watch is an hour. It's not too bad, is it? Put it on the background while you're doing the washing up. Now, another reason is, of course, my reply to comments videos are not 9 hours any longer. They're much shorter these days because I do them more often. I try to do them every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the number of uploads. I used to do them every 2 months or so. I remember it's bloody awful. And they did go on for 9 hours. I remember. Now, another reason I do these reply to comments videos is I enjoy doing them, and many of you, the viewers, enjoy watching them. Some of you watch them all the way through. I know. So that's it. That's why I do them. So anyway, let's go straight to let's go. First of all, make sure I've got the right timestamp, which I have. We'll go straight to the first comment that was left on the video since the last reply to comments video, and it is Rick Horden, gold tinfoil hat on reply to comments 97. You got it, Rick. It's on the way. And Rick Horden says, if Liberace's dead, how come he's upstairs playing the piano? Because Liberace is just a nickname I give him, Rick. He is actually called Alan. Yes. Again, Michael Snow on reply to comments 97. Comments, yes. Feel free to make some. And same video, Nihilist Lives Matter. Thanks for your support, Ben. I appreciate it. You're welcome, Nihilist Lives Matter. I mean, if I remember rightly, you got into an argument with someone who's a bit arsey. Thunderstorm Generator. Oh, well, this is a good video. Randall Carlson is a Freemason. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, God blimey. Mason Free Party. One of my brother porters is a Freemason. I remember him. A guy called Richard. It's quite an old guy. He was a hospital porter. He was actually in my department, and he was a Freemason. I mean, come on, man. If you know, it's not the world does not revolve around Freemasons, and the source of all evil in the world is not Freemasons any more than it's the Jays or the Muslims or the Americans or the Chinese or the Jesuits. No, it's more complicated than that. Same video, Mason Free Party again. Have you heard of a company in Hemel Hempstead called IntelliPlus? I looked on Company's House and Piers Corbyn was employed by them. Strange that. Yes. There was a bit of a hoo-ha about this a while ago. IntelliPlus. What was all that about? IntelliPlus Group Limited. That's it. And there's several. It's got several. It's got gov.org, find and company update and information, Company's House. Yeah, I can't remember all the details. I know if you are implying that somehow Piers Corbyn is a shill because of this, if I remember rightly, this was debunked because he was accused of taking money from some vaccine manufacturer or something. Well, some guy set him up with monopoly money or something, pretended to bribe him. I think that was debunked. That was made based on a video that was edited to make Piers look like a bad guy when he wasn't. Yeah, but anyway, a Mason Free Party. Feel free to send me more details if you like. If I'm wrong there, please feel free to do so. Now we have reply to comments 97 again. And Steve-O, who says, enjoy Contact in the Desert, Ben. Plenty of reportages coming our way by the sound of it. Yes, indeed. In fact, you've seen my Ben in the Desert, probably. I had a lovely time, thanks, Steve-O, as you can see in the video. It was a fantastic conference. Same video. Hugo Rune, how you doing? Kate Bush and Donald Sutherland, thanks for that, Ben. Fantastic video. Oh, you're very welcome, Hugo. Donald Sutherland sadly just passed away. I went and watched the old. I went and watched the cloud busting video again. I remember, like, I saw it. I first saw it when I was a kid. When I was like, when it came out, it was in the cinema because they used to show music videos in the cinema before the main feature, along with the trailers and ads. And I remember the cloud busting video, and I knew nothing about Wilhelm Reich at the time. Didn't know about anything about him for years to come. But that video haunted me. I've never forgot it. And Donald Sutherland is. It's very rare for a Hollywood actor to do music videos. It must have meant a lot to him. I mean, he didn't get paid either because he didn't have a work visa for the UK. But he still did it with Kate. It's quite something. Yeah, and he's passed away. By the way, Hugo, I've been watching it. I went and watched another film, an old film I've seen several times of old Donny. It's called Don't Look Now. It's a really good film. I've forgotten how good it was. Fantastic, sort of like spooky ghost story. Hugo Rune says on Reply to Comments 97, we've got a thread now. We've got a thread. And we have here 124.14 onward. We now have a timestamp. Let's have a look. For some reason my display capture's not working. Oh dear, okay. Oops. Hugo Rune, come visit please. I'm allowed to grow my own cannabis, my recognised medication. Please help me expose this publicly. Help me get it recognised and legalised. The police locally accept me, my growing cannabis. I'll be in touch, Hugo. Yeah, I will. I'm not going to be available now for a couple of months because I'm travelling other places, but I will after that. Find time to come and see you. There it is, yeah. Nice one, Ben. You're welcome, Hugo. All right, yeah, Hugo. I'm sorry I haven't done that yet. Yeah, I am literally popping in and out at the moment. I've got several other events planned through the summer. I'm travelling a lot, as much as time and money allows. But I will at some point get to see you. Must do that, yeah. You can wait a couple of months. He says, I need help getting the message out. I can wait a couple of months, no problem. Thanks, Hugo. Maybe autumn time would be better. David Smith says underneath here, I think is my display capture working now? Well, it is, good, because it wasn't working at first. Nobody's ever died from eating pizza and ice cream. Well, it depends how much of it you eat, David. If you eat loads of it every day, you will die of it. Pizza and ice cream deaths equals 0. Well, yeah, if you eat them every night. If you eat them in moderation, you won't die of them. No. Yeah, and he says here, that's why I only eat lots of those things. Perfectly safe with no health implications. Well, again, it depends how many you eat. But in all seriousness, I support people doing what they feel they need to do in the comfort of their own home. You should be allowed to grow and use it as you see fit. Thanks, David. That's very, very generous of you. And I think you're being a bit sarcastic there, as you often are, applying, well, just, cannabis. This is like pizza and ice cream. You have too much of it, it does cause deaths. But, yeah. And Hugo Rune says, but pizza and ice cream are not illegal. Cannabis is. Cannabis deaths 0. Well, yeah, I mean, of course, the thing about pizza and ice cream is it has VAT on it, doesn't it? Cannabis doesn't. Cannabis, that's taxable. Things that are taxable are always allowed, aren't they? David Smith, yeah, that's irrelevant to my point. Pizza and ice cream deaths 0. Hugo says, so, you believe I'm a criminal? Hugo adds here, so that means you agree with the UK law that cannabis should be illegal? It is a dangerous thing? David, no, you're misunderstanding. I don't think it should be criminalised, but I also wouldn't say it's totally healthy either. Well, I think I'll butt in at this point, David, and say that nothing is completely healthy. If you overeat anything, it will have some kind of negative effect on you. Beside the man who loved carrots so much. Carrots are healthy, aren't they? Carrots are healthy food. All the dietitian says eat plenty of carrots. Well, this guy became so fond of carrots he ate about 20 of them a day, and he turned orange. His iris, his hair, his fingernails, his skin turned bright orange from the pigment in the carrots because he's having so much of it. I mean, the good news is it's not permanent. Once he stopped eating the carrots, he eventually, after a few weeks, he returned to his normal colour. But it's just nothing. Everything has side effects if you have too much of it. And of course, Graham Hancock has spoken very bravely and openly about the mental problems that he has faced, and it is connected with his abuse of cannabis, and he's admitted that. But Hugo, I agree with Hugo though. I think as drugs go, as substances go, cannabis is among the least harmful, I'd say. It's very difficult to overdose on it to a point where it's actually medically a problem. As long as if you use it in the right way, setting, etc., it won't do you any harm. And Hugo says here, I admit I smoke it with tobacco. That's the only danger. If I eat it only, it would be the safest general medicine in the world. Sadly, I am a smoker. Oh, Hugo, yeah, tobacco, smoking is a tricky thing to quit if you want to quit. But there's other preparations for cannabis. I mean, Graham Hancock used to vape it. In the old days before vaping became trendy, he had like a vape machine. He used to fill out a big plastic bag, and he used to breathe in the bag. I've actually got I got stoned once because my daughter made some chocolate cakes with it in, and she gave one to me. David says to Hugo, yes, smoking anything is dangerous. Our lungs aren't meant for that. This is why I made the point about unhealthy foods. Just because no death certificate says, quote, died by way of too much pizza and ice cream ingestion, unquote, doesn't mean it's not a contributing factor in ailments. Interesting discussion, guys. I can see both your points, actually. Yeah. Thunderstorm generator. And we have Bixton 33. 100% BS. Right. That's interesting. Just that. 100% and BS, exclamation mark. And, do you have anything to add? Why is it 100% BS? I mean, I could say 2 plus 2 equals 4, 100% BS, right? If I said that, would it mean that 2 plus 2 equals 5? If not, why not? Let's have a discussion, Bixton. These monosyllabic kind of dismissals I really, really don't like. Lord of the Rings film review. Oh yeah, I went and saw it in the cinema again. Dark Corners UK says Lord of the Rings is not only one of my favourite literary franchises. So he misspells literary in a quite sweet way. All right, but it's one of my favourite movie franchises also. The world is so well realised by Tolkien, and the films by Peter Jackson. Yes, it's just those films now are over 20 years old, and they're kind of like a bit. It's sad to watch them and realise that if they couldn't be made today in that way, they couldn't be. I mean, you could see this with this disgusting new series, which is just full of like wokery, and it hurts with Tolkien more than it does with anything else, because Tolkien is kind of the keep of the fortress when it comes to culture. They can have Doctor Who, they can have Star Wars if they want, they can have Star Trek, but they're not bloody having Tolkien. They're not turning Tolkien into one of their horrible, disgusting, on-message propaganda machines. And they never did because of Christopher Tolkien. Christopher Tolkien was such a dedicated defender of his father's work. Peter Jackson had to go through. This guy was really, really grilled Peter Jackson over the company, the company that created it. Basically, these horrible people have been waiting for him to die. And in 2021, Christopher Tolkien finally left this earth. He was about 98 years old. He finally left this earth. And these rainbow-striped vultures that have been circling him then come down to feed on the corpse. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, but look, we've got the books. We've got those fantastic adaptations by Jackson. I've got all the DVDs of them, the extended edition, the theatrical edition, the theatrical cut, the feature cut, everything, and all the documentaries that go with them. They can't take those away from us. Right, Contacts in the Desert, part 1 of 3. Tinfoil hat, please, Ben. Granted. Gold one to you, Steve-O. Here we go, says the crafty nihilist on 1 of 3. For Contacts in the Desert. That's Ben in the Desert. Steve, it could be 10 hours plus, 3-part marathon. Woohoo! They say. It was actually 7 hours plus. I might have had to turn it into a 3-parter. Ben in the Desert, part 1 of 3. Neil Peel, welcome back, Ben. Hope you had a great time. I bloody did, yes. We're about to find out, says Steve-O. Jonathan Carlos, absolute rubbish. Who are you quoting, Jonathan? Yes, I know who you're quoting. I actually watched one of his videos the other day, old Steve. Yeah. Same video, David. Splendid isolation. So brilliant. Thanks so much for your reportage, Ben. You're welcome, David. InsureTech says on Ben in the Desert Part 1 of 3. Been looking forward to this. Oh, great. I was so looking forward to going. And one of the reasons I was looking forward to going was so I could make this video. I can make the video of it, because that's all part of the experience. Hope you had a great time, said DJ B2. Oh, it was fantastic, as you'll see when you watch the video. Same video, DJ B2. Thomas Jane is in The Expanse. Right. Thomas Jane. He was also in The Punisher, says Dark Corners UK. Were we referring to that at any point? Sorry, I've forgotten now. DJ B2. Dave Foley is in lots of TV shows. Oh, wait, I don't know these names. Same video. DJ B2. DJ B2. Danian has a heck of a lot of weight. He does. Danian Brinkley is a remarkable near-death experiencer. He's spoken very very openly about what happened to him during his near-death experience. He also claims that it cured him of his psychopathy. I mean, a lot of people undergo a personality transformation when they have an NDE. It's almost like a Scrooge-like rebirth. But Danian said he was an out-and-out psychopath, and it cured him. DJ B2. Tip for next time, use a burner phone number. All right. Well, I've got my regular phone number. I've actually got a new phone. It was actually my brother's, which he's given to me. Because he doesn't want it anymore. He's got a new one. I'm going to have to set it up at some point. Alan McBride. Nice one, Ben. Glory to the desert. Oh, the desert is beautiful. It really is. It's a beautiful. It's like, I haven't been to many deserts. I went to the Australian desert, and they're beautiful places. 1 of 3 again. DJ B2. Ben. Most of us and some other places are not the same. Hang on. Most of us here and some other places are not the same in thinking meat processes from the normies. Probably why we can see things others cannot, and did not get pushed into something unhealthy. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't quite understand every word you said there, but into same thinking meat processes, and not into the same thinking meat process from the normies. Yeah. And DJ adds here on the same video, I think they used to call it common sense. Yeah, no one really wants common sense anymore. Same video, DJ B2. Late father played football against the Rat Pack. They clashed. They cheated with the red eye hip flasks. What? All right. Oh, cool. That's not American football, is it? I mean, I was trying to get around with American football. DJ says only one missing was Frank. All right, Frank who? There were a few people I wanted to see who weren't there, as I said. There were some friends I wanted to meet there and couldn't, because they couldn't get there. A lot of them were people I know well online, but I've not ever met in real life, which I wanted to. It's all part of the social media, isn't it? You often make very close relationships with people who live thousands of miles away from you, and some of them you'll never see. Hugo says, nice one, Ben. I'm really enjoying this on 1 of 3. Thanks, Hugo. Another hour to watch. Looking forward to the next part, says Hugo on 1 of 3. Thanks, Hugo. Yeah, it's good. DJ B2 says on 1 of 3. Sinatra. Yeah, I got some of the people in terms of the pictures in the hotel I got wrong. They had photos in the hotel of various people, and I got some of them wrong because I'm not that old. I remember particularly I thought Nat King Cole was Chuck Berry, which is a bit embarrassing because there's a couple of others I got wrong. I didn't recognise. Right, Hugo says, whoa, part 2 is uploaded. Nice one, Ben. Happy to continue. Oh, you're very welcome, Hugo. Spliffs at the ready, Hugo, says Dark Corner. Certainly are. 45 spliffs made now will last me a few days. I think that's a few hours, Hugo. InsureTech says Chuck Berry, Roffle. That's Nat King Cole. I know. Sorry. I did see your comment actually earlier, and I realised I made a mistake. These are like stars from the past. There's been a hotel there since the 1950s, and I was, that particular hotel's been there. It was built in 1989, but it's on the site of an earlier hotel. It was basically rebuilt, and these guys used to perform there in the 50s and 60s, etc. 69 Phuket, part 2 of 3. Ben in the desert. Faust, Ben, I'll be twisting by the pool. Yes, I think, yes, like Dire Straits. One thing I should have brought with me: swimming trunks. Yes. Part 2 of 3, 69 Phuket, VIP, vigorously inappropriate perpetrator. I was thinking of vigorously inappropriate porter. Steve-O, very into paranormal, yeah. But David Smith, Viagra inserted permanently. Uncomfortable, says Steve-O. Deary me, yeah, I felt a bit kind of like, I don't know, I felt embarrassed to have that VIP thing. I mean, it's because I'm a friend of Johnny Enoch, and he let me in for free. I'm very grateful to him for that. I should have given him a mention in the credit, so sorry about that, Johnny. Right. Rhiannon. Some thoughts. What is Rhiannon Raven? This is. What's that shiny thing on your left eye? Near your left eye at the start of the video. I don't know. I mean, I noticed it myself. She said, either you've been snogging a glitter-infested party girl. Not that. I'm sure I'd remember if I had. Or the aliens have planted some kind of bug on you. Oh, God. I don't know what it was. I noticed it myself, but it's all disappeared later on. That thing on the wall in the Premier Inn at the airport looks like lots of bubble gum and sperm. It does, yes. Typical cheap hotel art. When I stayed at the newly opened Premier Inn in St David's, we also stayed in one of their posh Premier rooms. They seem to specialise in crap and pretentious art in these rooms. The one in the room we stayed in looked like the after effects of someone blowing their brains out with a shotgun. I'm sure that helps you sleep well. It was right next to the bed, and so was the first thing one saw when one woke up. Oh dear, nightmares, eh? I complained about it in the anemic-looking pink sausages at breakfast, and they actually they actually refunded me. Nice one, Premier Inn. Oh right, I've never had that. I have had their breakfast buffet. But the sausages were all right, if I remember. I remember it being quite nice. Neurodiversity is a good thing, never to be ashamed of. Not thinking like the crowd. The world needs us, even if they don't appreciate us. That desert place looks like absolute hell. I will never go there, rest assured. You'd be indoors all the time, just bathing in the aircon. I think, Rhiannon, definitely. I don't think you wouldn't. The walk between the hotels you'd hate. But yeah, neurodiversity. I mean, I suppose neurodiversity is what you have to be to watch my channel. I think if you're completely normal, you'd never get anywhere. Right, Ben in the Desert, part 3 of 3. Crafty Nihilist says thirst. Congratulations, Crafty. By the way, go to the Crafty Nihilist channel on Monday evening. What time is it? 7 p.m. Because I'm going to be on their show. I'm going to be on their video live stream. Steve-O, 37th this time. Guess it's just one of Ben's old caps for me. I'll tell you what, you can have the one that Roaring Water Bay kept stealing from me. He can pass it down to you. Crafty. If it's that sweaty one from the desert, make sure he washes it first, for sure. Says Steve-O. Yes, it's my Roswell one. I've got to wash it actually. Yeah, I'm only wearing it at work. Ben in the Desert, part 2 of 3. Second. All right, silver tinfoil hat for you there. You've got a gold and a silver. That's quite something. 1 of 3. Dark Corners UK. 7 hours of glorious HPANWO content. I know how I'm spending my day. Oh, thank you. Hope you like it. But 2 of 3. Israel Diego Rivera Genius 2. The Real Genius says real Nostradamus there. Oh, really? Who? Is there a Nostradamus? I mean, someone who can tell the future? 1 of 3. Dark Corners UK. Oh, he's got a timestamp here, but I know what he's talking about. I understand that art is subjective. I personally see a large crowd of people, probably symbolic of all the faces that pass through the airport. I suppose it could be interpreted that way. I quite liked it. I thought it was quite... I don't know, it's kind of... I know it looks like it's an abstract piece, but to me it looked like it had perspective. It could be, yeah. And there's lots of other things to look at the airport. They've got photographs of various people around London saying hello and greeting people and that, 3 of 3. Blue Wool. Hey, it's the Mr. Wool, Woollyfoot himself. Says here, the Arizona UFO car actually belongs to Michael of Sedona, who we saw talk about 9/11. Yes. And Colin, when I watched him, I actually wished I hadn't. I wished I'd gone to the Georges, George Knapp, George Norrie, because that's where our friend Helen went. Because he wasn't actually. Well, he was like I said, he was a bit of a space cadet. He touched on 9/11 briefly, then went on about all kinds of other things. Yeah. 2 of 3. David Morgan Demos. Oh, you're not part of Demos, like the what's it called? Those two guys, the 118 twins. You're not one of them, are you? Great video, Ben. You're welcome, David Morgan of Demos. Oh, you're not David Morgan of someone. You're not David Morgan, who Colin and I know really well, are you? Are you that David Morgan? It's a common name, but I mean, Colin and I know someone very well called David Morgan. He's actually appeared in some of my videos. 3 of 3. Bronze tinfoil hat for me, says DJ. Well done, DJ. Well done. Hope you like it. And Crafty says, well done, DJ. Steve-O says on 2 of 3. If time's not linear and all happening at the same moment, as some hypothesize, then would it be possible to travel back into our past, as it would be like taking a step to the left and not a step backwards, so to speak? That's a good question. I would say the answer is no. And the reason I think that is because it's to do with causality paradoxes. You get like, hang on, I'll just put the fan on because I'm getting hot. You get things like situations where you go back and you change the past, and changing the past automatically changes the future. Killing your own grandfather is the classic one, but there's many others, and those changes cause a divergent series of events that lead to a completely different outcome. A good example, the film Back to the Future is a good film. It's not thing about Back to the Future is it is actually a bad title, because Marty McFly, the main character, he doesn't go back to the future. He goes to a completely different dimension. The reason is because he changes the past. He has to save his own life by getting his mother and father together when it looks like they're not going to meet. But he also encourages his father as a young man, as a teenager, to be stronger and more confident by taking on the school bully. Now, in the world he left behind, his father is a failed author. He's been trying to be a successful writer and can't, basically because he lacks the confidence and drive. And by taking on the school bully, Marty turns his father into a much stronger, more confident man. And so when he returns to the future, he finds his father as a successful writer. Now, he hasn't gone back to the future. He's gone to a completely different world. This is the problem. Time traveling into the future is possible through Einstein's special relativity. You just go very fast. Time traveling to the past can't be done, literally. What you can do, though, is you can visit a parallel universe which is very similar to, or even is identical or very similar to Earth's own past. And then you can then return to where you came from before, and everything will be exactly as you leave it, no matter what you do in that world. Do you see what I mean? The experience of time travel can be simulated in the many worlds hypothesis but it cannot be done literally. Good question, mate. Good question. What 3 of 3, Steve-O? Pope and Dolan, Ben. Pope and Dolan and Ben. That would be an awkward ride in the lift. Oh God. Pope and Dolan and Ben. It sounds like a firm of Dickensian solicitors. Pope, yes, I'd sort of like be. Well, Dolan I can probably say hello to. Pope, no, actually I wouldn't like. I pretty dislike most of them for different reasons, but I dislike both of those men. Yeah. Although Dolan seemed, to be honest, I almost apologised to Dolan, didn't I, in this particular video, because he seemed like a nicer character. Well, maybe I saw a different side of him, and maybe he's mellowed with age. I don't know. I mean, the incident with my partner, where I felt like bloody doing something community guidelines to him, because he was talking down at me in front of my partner. That was, how long ago was that? My goodness me, that was 14 years ago almost. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's mellowed with age. David says on 2 of 3, Ben, you need to deal with Ninja for 10% finder's fee or something. Need to do a deal with Ninja for 10% finder's fee or something. Ninja, what? To get his sword out and I don't know, go to battle? I mean, what? For 10% finder's fee? No, I don't know about that. Who you mean by Ninja? 2 of 3, David Smith. Have you done a video about the star map you were talking about? A video about the Betty and Barney Hill star map? No, I haven't done that. A video about it, no. I vaguely remember something about it, and skeptics don't need to debunk it. It's the believers who need to prove it. But that would be interesting to learn more about. Right, yeah. This is something, a star map, and David Splendid in Isolation says a star map made by Marjorie Fish. This was based on the memory of Betty Hill, the abductee, who was abducted by aliens, along with their husband Barney, very famous, supposedly the first ever alien abduction, although they're not. They were the first one to be publicised and popularised the idea of it. Carl Sagan mentions this in Cosmos, and he said it was all a load of nonsense. I know skeptics say it's more nonsense, but I don't know all the details now, and I'm not going to look them up here and now, but yeah, I think there was more. I think actually it's there's more to it than that. I don't know. But a video about it might not be a bad idea, actually. I'll tell you what, get Steve Mumbling to make one about it, and then I'll make a reply video to him. If in doubt, if you want to encourage me, or goad me, or spur me on, get Steve Mumbling to make a video so I can reply to it. Okay. David Smith says to David, Splendid Isolation, thanks for the name. Studying thousands of vantage points over several years, the only one that seemed to match the hill map was from the viewpoint of the double star system Zeta Reticuli, unquote. Yeah, that's where the whole focus on Zeta Reticuli comes from. The key word being seemed. After trying so many, she finally found one that roughly matched. The skeptic in me, David, there's no skeptic in you. You are the skeptic. The skeptic in me tells me more evidence is required. It would have been handy if they'd given other information that's more precise and not so open to interpretation. Well, of course, David, of course. It would have been easier if Nostradamus simply wrote in simple, basic prose, and he didn't. He does quatrains in this very abstract, sort of like poetic way, so it's hard to know what he's actually talking about. So you're right. I mean, it would be nice if there was more evidence. I'm not. The jury's out for me on this whole thing. But David said, not so well known is that years later she said her work on the star map was likely wrong, and more accurate stellar data after more accurate stellar data became available. But the Zeta Reticuli thing has stuck and become law. It's essentially where it comes from, including its use by Bob Lazar, which raises alarm bells for me. I think that Zeta Reticuli has planets, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Let's look it up. I think it has. I think it's a star system with planets. Here we go. Zeta Reticuli, binary system in reticulum. What is it? Characteristics: double star, apparent magnitude, blah 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 blah. Both stars share the same physical characteristics as the Sun, so they're considered solar analogues. The stellar classification is nearly the same. Yeah, both stars are considered unusual and were thought to have had lower luminosity. Alleged debris disk. All right, Zeta Reticuli has no known planets, but it's apparently got It sounds a bit like Tabby Star here. It has like something around it, like debris, you know, like a accretion disk or something. Yeah, but that's Zeta Reticuli. But yeah, there's no planets that have been found around it. There may be some that they haven't seen yet. Or maybe David Smith is right and it's just a red herring. Right, 2 of 3, David Smith. Interesting you give limits about time travel as an open and shut case based on science that we somewhat know about, brackets, when you talk about aliens coming from the future, close brackets. Because, yeah, but I do. I mean, I've already explained that earlier on, David, about that. Because we also have limits based on our knowledge about travelling fast enough to reach other solar systems. The only limits are engineering, not scientific. We can travel we cannot exceed the speed of light, according to Einstein, but so long as we have the means, we can travel up to it, very close to it. Me being a skeptic, I wouldn't actually rule out any of that, because there are massive gaps in our knowledge, so I can't say yay or nay. I'm open to either being the case. Are you closed-minded on this? I don't think I'm closed-minded. I think from what I've seen, the idea of backwards time travel is pretty. I must say, from what I've seen, it's pretty open and shut. When you're talking about literal travel into the past, literally going backwards in time to the literal past, there are many, many reasons to believe that's not possible. If there's other reasons to say otherwise, I'll change my mind. Right, we have now reply to comments 94. All right, it's an old reply to comments video, and David Smith has been commenting on it. He's been watching it. Good for you, mate. Skepticism doesn't need to give evidence, as it's only saying, show me the evidence of your claim. If your evidence fails to meet that standard, then it can be dismissed. This is why you don't waste time trying to prove there is no box of gold in Nigeria waiting to be sent to you for a small fee. Isn't there? Damn! That lovely princess sent me an email asking me for £50. Dear me, and she's promised to date me when I get back to London and hand over 20 bars of gold. Oh dear! Or why I tell you I have a piece of crashed alien debris for a mere £200 and you won't send any money. Believe it or not, David, that actually happened to me. It happened to me. That is skepticism. Like it or not, you use it regularly. When it comes to your beliefs in paranormal, you suspend your skepticism. No, I don't. David, we've been through this. All right. Skepticism is not show me the evidence of your claim. That is, you could call skepticism with a small c, or rationalism, etc. I mean, we can use whatever words we like, but I've done an entire video, which you have watched, and I know you've watched it because you've commented on it a lot. I've done several videos on this subject, actually, and there's going to be an updated version with the Crafty Nihilist. I'm talking about the difference between show me the evidence of your claim, etc. The definition. It's very early on in my skeptic video, like in the Sufon one. And then there's what I call the skeptic movement, the skeptic culture, which is very different. The skeptic culture says that I have an ideological commitment to these things, paranormal, ufology, government cover-ups, etc., being false, and that's an ideological commitment. And I'm going to ignore evidence that says otherwise and promote evidence that says it's not. You see, I've done an entire video on this, David, and we have discussed this before, I'm sure. Because what you call skepticism, I don't use that word, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And like I said, someone actually did present to me one day a piece of metal which they said had come from a crop circle, and I didn't believe them. It looked like a splash from a foundry, and they wanted £70 for it, and I didn't pay them. Yeah. David carries on. People can be sceptical about some things and not others. Again, what's your definition of sceptical? Do you mean people can be rational about some things and not others? Yeah. It's the same compartmentalization that lets religious believers become evolutionary biologists. Well, actually, David, many religious believers who are evolutionary biologists, it's not a compartmentalization. They have a rational explanation for why their two ideas are not mutually exclusive. If you listen to them, people like Alistair McGrath, they'll tell you. He carries on. And if someone claims to have been skeptical but then was convinced by some paranormal experience, then by the very definition they weren't skeptical. No, they were not. Well, by your definition, yes, they were, because they were convinced by some paranormal experience, and the evidence for their claim was shown to them. In that case, they aren't skeptical by your definition, aren't they? Indeed, I could give you examples of this. Michael Shermer appears to be wavering in that direction. So no, you're wrong there. Ironically, if you go by my definition of skeptical, that is the ideological commitment to materialism, then they weren't skeptical indeed. But we're talking about your definition now. David carries on, I've had experiences I can't explain. I don't chalk them up to the paranormal. How could I? I don't have a way to fully investigate and rule out all other natural phenomenon. No, but you see, well, firstly, if you go by the principle that you will rule out all other natural phenomena as a principle before even considering something paranormal, then you're entering into the clown's day off fallacy, which I explain in the same video, the skeptic video from Sufon, and indeed from the Truth Seekers Northeast. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you should just rule out all other natural phenomenon, because otherwise you'll say, well, it could have been a clown with a day off from the circus. I don't know what clown, doesn't matter. And then debunking becomes an exercise of the imagination. No, I think you should, if you have an experience you can't explain and you believe it's possibly caused by, I don't know, sleep deprivation, alcohol, etc., or maybe some illness you have. It could be you have like a seizures or something. Then yeah, by all means. In fact, I would recommend going to the doctor if it happens too often. However, if a likely natural mundane phenomenon does not cause your experience, for example, a ghostly activity in your house, then I think you should possibly consider a paranormal explanation, and I don't think you should rule out all other natural phenomenon if that natural phenomenon happens to be incredibly unlikely. David says, so I have yet to hear of a case where someone really was skeptical and then crossed over into some other belief system with good evidence. If the evidence was good, it would convince others, including me. Right. Again, we're using your definition of skeptical. In that case, according to your definition, I could give you dozens of examples. Dozens. C.S. Lewis. Alison McGrath, I mentioned earlier, used to be an atheist. I mean, as I said, Michael Shermer may well become one of these people. There are many, many others. There was even some member of the James Randi Forum who announced in an embarrassed way at one point that he was no longer a skeptic and things like that. And luckily the members were very nice to him, which is unusual for them. So, according to your definition, I could give you numerous examples. And according to my definition of skeptical, I could think of some examples too. Both sides in this debate make converts from each other, David. David says here, and the point I don't think I heard you address was that atheism and skepticism are separate. Right, you get atheists who believe in ghosts and alien visitation abduction. Skepticism is different. That's correct. That is correct. There is what I would call the skeptic milieu. There are people, yes indeed, there are people who are not religious, who are atheists who believe in ghosts and aliens, yes. And conversely, there are people who believe who don't believe in those things, yes. But there is a big overlap. There's what I call the skeptic milieu, which is kind of it's an adaptation of Michael Barkan's cultic milieu. Because Barkan makes the point in his book that if you believe in UFOs, people who believe in UFOs are likely also to believe in ghosts and vice versa, and they're more likely to accept conspiracy theories, etc., etc. Oh, I'm giving this comment a love heart because David, I've missed having these debates with you. I really have. So yeah, atheism and skepticism are separate. But I would say atheism and skepticism, according to my definition, are not. I've never known of a skeptic, my definition skeptic, who is not an atheist. I mean, those two things are mutually exclusive in my view. Right. And David has another comment here. Reply to comments 84. To put it another way, I have a jar of pennies on my desk. If I tell you the number of pennies is odd, should you believe me? If you don't believe me, do you need to provide evidence or some kind of argument as to why the number isn't odd? Okay. Yes, you do. Let me go through that again. Jar of pennies. Should you believe me? If you don't believe me, do you need to provide evidence or some kind of argument as to why the number isn't odd? Yes, of course you do. You need to count them. I'd also wonder why you have spent so much time and effort on such a horrible, trivial task as counting pennies. But yeah, I'd obviously need to count them, and I wouldn't bother doing that. I would just take your word for it, David. Because should you believe me, you say, well, no, I shouldn't necessarily believe you, but I will, just to avoid having to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, and 7, and 2 hours later, 10,206, 10,207, that sort of thing. Great comments, David. It's good to have you back. 3 of 3. Steve-O. Thanks, Ben. An enjoyable reportage in the desert and back home safely. Next stop, bases. Bring your razor. Right, I didn't really need my razor for bases because it was shorter, but thanks, Dave. Thanks, Steve-O. Thanks. Bases is like 2 days with 2 days travelling. But as you know, contact is 5 days with 2 days travelling. Yeah. Actually, it's more than 2 days travelling because of time zone differences. I was away for 8 days altogether. 1 of 3. Bumbelina. Hi, Ben. Absolutely brill videos. I wish I could have gone with you. Looks heavenly from our woo-wooer UFO freak. Yes, it is. Bumbelina, it's well worth saving up for. Well worth saving up for. Who are? Part 2 of 3. Dark Corners UK. Are Colin and Mark a couple? I don't think so. I don't think they bend in that direction. I think they're just good mates, and it's really annoying that. No, it's not. And I know you're just kidding, Dark Corners. I'm not having a go at you because I know you're just making a joke. But whenever in this day and age, whenever men get too close to each other, they're accused of being gay, aren't they? Yeah. No, I don't think they are. I think they're good friends. I mean, I am with Mark and Colin as well, definitely. 3 of 3. We have the Crafty Nihilist, who says here, Ben, over 7,000 people accept you for who you are on this platform alone. People are always asking if you're coming to events, etc., and are pleased to see you. My youngest son even wants you to visit us again. Fitting in is just an illusion. No one truly fits in, as we were all born alone. It's just some people are too insecure to admit it and see it as a failing. Why on earth would you want to fit in to this gin-infested control grid anyway? If you did, you'd be one of them. We love you just the way you are. Oh, thank you, Crafty Nihilist. That's wonderful. Thank you. And David Smith says underneath, it's no measure of one's health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Yes, that's a quote by Martin Luther King, and that's absolutely true. Thank you very much, both of you. I appreciate that a lot. 1 of 3. Gary Robinson says, Ben, mate, sorry I've not been commenting recently. I've been mad busy and also I've been sick. That feeling you experience when the ground is going from side to side is something I have every time I travel across the Atlantic, regardless of the direction. It usually goes away after a good night's sleep. Cheers. Oh, Gary, I hope you're feeling better soon, mate. And right, that's interesting because it did go away after a short time. It did. Oh, yeah. Thanks very much. That's weird that you get it as well. And Neil says, hope you're feeling better, Gary. Gary says to Neil, excuse me. I'm much better, thanks, mate. Somehow, both myself and my dad managed to catch a Mexican-style fever and stomach bug. It took me 10 days to get over it. My dad ended up in hospital for 5 days. He's still getting back up to speed, but he's okay. Oh, dear, bloody hell. P.S. I hope you're doing well, mate. Oh, Gary, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Maybe you were in the UK for too long and you lost your immunity to the local bacteria and viruses. Neil says, crikey, that sounds dodgy. Glad you're better now. Hope your dad is better soon. Yeah, me too, Gary. Hope he's on the mend soon. I'm fine. As you might recall, I had food poisoning in Scotland a while back. But why waste my precious time there to be sick? Oh, Neil, not you as well. I'm sorry, mate. Yeah, I'm sorry. You popped a dodgy haggis there. And Gary says to Neil, yeah, I was thinking about that when I was sick, because I remember you mentioned it in a video. I think had me wondering if whether whatever you had was doing the rounds in the UK. Yeah. Well, I haven't had it yet, so hopefully not. Right, 3 of 3. Hugo Rune. Nice one, Ben. 46 spliffs in my tin. Should last me a few days, which is nice. A few hours, more like. 2 of 3, Dark Corners. Mona seemed like a lovely older lady. Hope you took her details. I did, Dark Corners, but well, she had a sort of holiday romance with someone else. So I'm not going to tread on their toes. If they're happy, they're happy, you know. Tessa1111 says on 103, did you see a photo of Mario Lanza in your hotel? I wouldn't recognise him, I think, Tessa. Yeah, I mean, I've seen like people impersonating him. There's that film, that Peter Jackson film, Heavenly Creatures, where the two girls love Mario Lanza and they have like an actor playing him. Oh, he's probably there actually because he was like a big star, wasn't he, in those days? 2 of 3. Rhiannon Raven says here, it's not that ancient Egyptian religious rites sound Christian, it's that Christian religious rites sound Egyptian. Ben, why are all of those foreign conferences in boiling hot places? Are there any conferences in Russia or Iceland or somewhere nice and civilised and cold? I know, Rhiannon, I know you'd love to go to a place where it's nice and civilised and cold, because, so would I. Well, there's that cruise, there's a cruise, I won't go in, called Contact at Sea, which is going through Alaska in September, and I think that'll be more your style. It's actually quite expensive. It's something maybe to save up for, but something maybe I could go on next year if I can get the money together. Because I want to go to Roswell as well, so it'll be a choice between one of those things, I think. But there is like a cruise you can go on, which is like Contacting the Desert, except it's on a ship. And Alaska, apparently, I mean, Mona went on it. Alaska is very cold in September. In fact, well, if you go any later, you can't go through it there at all because the sea's frozen over. 3 of 3, Dark Corners UK. Right, this is a timestamp here. Here we go. Someone who can't really collaborate or compete in the world of the normie. Oh right, yeah, I know what this is about. Yeah, thanks. Maybe that's how I'll always be. Oh, and Dark Corner said, "We're all oddballs, Ben. Embrace it. You're right. You're right." Like Crafty Nihilist said, and yeah, you're absolutely right. 2 of 3. Erazared. Hello, Erazared. I don't recognise you. I think you're new. Glad you had a good time. Would like to go to this one year myself. Thanks, Erazared. And indeed, it's worth saving up for. I mean, it is expensive, but well, it was less expensive for me because I was very lucky with Colin. With Colin giving me advice because he knows all the details and everything. And of course, there was someone somebody else at hand who works for an airline who actually helped me, and Johnny Enoch who got me in there for free. So it was cheaper for me than it is for most people travelling the distance I did. But even if it hadn't been, it's worth saving for. I mean, I'd say if you can get £1,000 together, you can go. So it's about what most people spend on beers a year. So just cut down on the beer for a few months, and you'll have the money. 3 of 3 Tesla Cybertruck. Oh right, David. Yeah, that's right. That Tesla Cybertruck is something that Trevor and I discussed on Third Rail. And I remember when it first. I've always thought, would I ever see one of those? And I have. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. David, 3 of 3. The man from the ministry still impresses. Then, oh yes, he does. You can't have a UFO conference without Nick Pope. He's got to be there. He's essential. You take him away and everything falls apart. 3 of 3. Jackie Cheeseman. Hi, Jackie. Says here. Again, someone new I don't recognise. Welcome. Hi, Ben. It's been really enjoyable following your trip to the conference. Did anyone capture anything on their phone at the CE5 event? I don't think they did, Jackie. To be honest, I actually slept through most of it. I was just really exhausted, and I just sort of sat there and I went. But thanks, yeah, I did have a great time. Rhiannon Raven again says here, the bird you saw is a grackle. That's when the bird that landed next to me at the swimming pool. When a grackle appears, it's a spiritual message to take notice of your intuition. All right. Have confidence in your resourcefulness and release repressed emotions. It's a message that it is time to have the confidence to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. In the setting that you saw it, and in light of your feelings being an oddball out there on your own who doesn't fit in, I would suggest this little bird came to tell you that you are perfect as you are, and that you do not need to try to fit in to anyone else's criteria. In fact, were you to try to do, it would be a disaster. Maybe that dream you had of seeing the tramp in Oxford turning into a bag of rubbish is symbolic of something that no longer serves you and needs to be sorted out or thrown away. Have the confidence to be who you are, and you will attract those souls who are on the same wavelength as you. The other message which the grackle brings is as a messenger from the spirit world. Maybe your friends who have passed over were letting you know they're still around you. You are never alone, Ben, even though it might sometimes feel that way. Oh, thanks, Surianon. Thank you. Okay, that's a lovely comment, and I agree. I'm trying to do exactly that. I mean, obviously, the fact that I had this opportunity to go to the conference means that I have found a way to attract the souls who are on the wavelength as me, because I was there. I mean, and I went to another one less than 2 weeks later. I was at the Basis Project, so yeah, thank you. One of three, Spaceman says, one of your best, enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Spaceman. I'm very proud of this video. I'm so glad I got the opportunity to make it. Yeah. 2 of 3, Odessa, when you're that close to Death Valley, it's going to be hot. Just kidding. Well, yeah, Death Valley's actually not far from there. It's although we didn't have the chance to visit it. It's, I mean, by American standards, it's quite close. It's in Southern California. It has its own microclimate, though. It's even hotter. It's like it's really quite something. I mean, it gets even hotter there. I mean, imagine going there. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to go there, but God, I'd have to stay indoors in the aircon. But Rihanna Raven says on reply to comments 97. Personally, I don't think that AI music will ever be a real threat to actual created music that springs forth from the human soul. Certainly, it's very clever and entertaining, but it's always going to be a poor second to genuine human creation. It has a sort of dead behind the eyes soullessness to it, much like songs of Taylor Swift. Meow. It's like comparing a handkerchief square of astroturf to a verdant forest floor. I agree, and you know what? I mean, to be honest, I think AI is overrated, both in terms of its benefits and its dangers. For example, I mean, these sort of questions came out when recorded music first appeared, because everyone said, well, there's going to be no more need for like live performances anymore, because people, concerts and things like that will no longer be needed, and theatre plays and stuff like that will no longer be needed. But of course, they are, and indeed, it costs more to go and see a live performance than it does to buy the record. I mean, if you go and see, you mentioned Taylor Swift here. If you go to you see Taylor Swift live in a theatre, all right, it's going to cost you quite a lot of money. If you want to hire Taylor Swift to do a personal performance for you, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more money than simply going out and buying her download on iTunes. So I think AI is going to be similar. I think there's going to be AI created stuff is always going to have that cheapness about it, and it's simple economics, because the economic input is very low for AI, which means that the what's created will never be of any real value. It'll be enjoyed by people in the same way I might enjoy. Well, I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift, but if I was, I'd enjoy listening to her, but it wouldn't have that authenticity. So yeah, I think so. I think that's absolutely right. With Rin Michaelis, Israel and Hamas, Hugo Rune. Interesting, Ben. Thanks, mate. Thanks. It was a good discussion with Rin. I'm recording another one with her, actually, in a few days. Right, same video. Dave Yorkshire. Hey, Dave. I recently did a video on Dave's channel, so go and check that out. Potemkin Villagers, they were called. That's my father was a trade unionist and invited to the USSR, although he refused the invitation. Well, good for him. Well done. I mean, that's right, Dave. The Soviets were very crafty in gaining Western support from the Third International by basically, yes, bringing people into the USSR and taking them on tours. I mean, it was always organised. You can't just go and backpack in the USSR in those days. You'd have to go on the organised package holiday there which they did, and of course it was all for the purposes of propaganda. So yeah, to Potemkin village. That's right, Dave. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Rin Michaelis again. Afrabina, that's a good name. Afrabina says the three Abrahamic religions of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity have been at war with each other for centuries. This is not ending anytime soon. They have in certain circumstances. It depends on the situation, because members of those religions, in some situations, in some cultures and some countries, will fight each other over differences, and indeed other religions as well, like Hinduism. Alternatively, there are also societies in which they live in peace and in harmony with each other. For example, in the Indian Civil War of 1947, which is actually going on during Roswell, which is why one of the reasons Roswell didn't really have an impact at the time. I think 1.8 million people were killed in the Indian Civil War. That was between Right, that's the end of an hour. That was between. I've started, so I'll finish, as Magnus Magnusson used to say. That was between, of course, the Muslims and the Hindus in what was at the time was British India, which then became two independent states, India and Pakistan. They fought a bitter war with each other, which was really a series of riots and lynchings. Yet in Kerala today there are synagogues and mosques and churches almost next door to each other, and the people get along absolutely fine. So it depends on context, I think. Anyway, that's the end of hour number 1. Back for hour number 2 soon. Okay, part 2, second hour. Here we got. My goodness me, I think I'm not going to try and predict the length of this, but I'm about 2/3 of the way through YouTube now. Hugo Rune says here, I've lived many years in Islamic countries as Salam Alaikum. Oh, right. I thought I meant hello. Salam alaikum, I think, meant hello, doesn't it? But I know you have indeed. Did you have a fake identity when you were over there? You were not. Were you Hugo Rune or someone else, or were you? What was that other name you called yourself? Not Artemis Fowl. What was it? Oh, it was Artemis Hugo Artemis something Rune. Is that what you called yourself? Hugo says, I have no interest in Islam or any religion. I was working. I know you're an atheist, that's right. But yeah, I mean, you worked, your job took you all over the world, that's right, yeah. But yeah, I mean, if I wouldn't mind visiting a country like that. I would just, if I went there, I mean, I'm not religious either. I don't believe in an organised religion. I wouldn't call myself an atheist, but I wouldn't go to mosques and things like that. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in Christianity either. And that was on Rin Michaelis, and also on the Rin Michaelis video, Wayne Model Builder. Hello, Wayne. How do you do? Well, the fact some of us can't stand TikTok or Facebook, etc., etc., I guess we will never know why you have a noisy pussy in your bedroom. But hey, at least you got some pussy, so respect. Yes, unoriginal pussy jokes coming up. I thought I might get a few of those. If you go to my TikTok channel, it explains everything about how in fact, I'll be addressing my TikTok comments in this video. I have actually had some TikTok comments because of the 2 TikTok videos I posted. But yes, Heineck is still here. He's actually relaxing in the other room at the moment, but Heineck is still around with us. But the mystery of Heineck has been solved, and all the details are on TikTok, so go and check those out. The same video, Hugo Rune. You can have a chilled conversation. Well said, Rin. That's right, Rin and I. Agent Rin, as she's sometimes known, or Mrs. Ben, as some other people call her, is someone I can talk to quite well. I quite like her sort of like judicious, easygoing nature, which is quite rare on social media these days. Hugo Rune, final comment, I've never liked Israel, sorry. You anti-Semite! No, I'm not going to say that, because why should you like Israel? I mean, this is really weird, because, I mean, it could be like someone just goes on holiday there, and the taxi drivers were dodgy, the food was terrible, the swimming pool was filthy, the beach was covered in rubbish, and they go home and give it a bad review on TripAdvisor, and someone says, you must be anti-Semitic. Oh, God. No, I mean, it's possible to criticise Israel without being anti-Semitic. Yeah, definitely. Hugo Rune says, well said, Ben, on this. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Hugo. That's on Rin as well. 1 of 3. Control Voice. Hello, Control Voice. How do you do? This is somebody new, I think. Thank you for your travel commentary. I greatly enjoyed listening to your vlog. One thing to keep in mind when visiting an American desert climate is always to stay hydrated. Yeah, drink plenty of water, that's right. Many tourists from other countries, or even from within the United States, don't realise how enervating the constant heat actually is. Enervating, I think, means drying out, and can quickly experience symptoms of dehydration. Yeah, in fact, Control Voice, this has actually happened in, I think there's a heat wave going on. I mean, it used to be called summer, but now it's called a heat wave, going on in some of the sort of cooler, more temperate climes of the US. And there's people like who need getting dehydration. In Saudi Arabia in the Hajj, I know at Mecca right now, 1,000 people have died of heat stroke. Yeah. Well, that's a desert country. What do you expect? It's right, yes, and you're absolutely right, Control Voice. This is one of the reasons I didn't walk to the grocery store to get a razor. Firstly, it would take too long. Secondly, I wouldn't want to walk an hour in that kind of weather. I think it would be hazardous for me to walk an hour in that kind of weather. You know, being like a pink Englishman, I'm not used to it. The desert heat is brutal and takes no prisoners, as the Death Valley Germans tragically learned. Oh, there was some died, didn't they? Yeah, there was a bedtime story about that. Yes, it's very often foreign nationals who are the most vulnerable. People from cooler countries who are not used to it. They're often the ones who suffer the most and often die first in these kinds of situations. Luckily, as you saw, that I didn't have to walk very far. The hotel where I was staying is just like a 10-minute walk from the venue, so I was lucky. Dehydration is not simply feeling thirsty. That is simply the most obvious symptom. Other symptoms include dizziness, lightheadedness, inability, irritability, drowsiness, confusion. If you're going to be out in the desert for any length of time, consider carrying a water bottle with cold water and taking occasional sips. Yes. Definitely, if I was like going off for some long walk somewhere in that weather, definitely I'd take water with me. I mean, it's essential. I'm sorry to hear that you're experiencing insomnia. I too often have trouble sleeping. One thing I've done is buy a sleep mask with a pair of embedded Bluetooth headphones. I've downloaded a number of binaural beats, storm and rain sounds to play on my phone and laptop. Then I can play these sounds throughout the night, and they lull me to sleep. This has been remarkably effective in combating my insomnia. Well, thanks very much, Control Voice. I mean, I've actually found several videos like 10 hours of rainfall sounds, or 10 hours on a sea, the sound of the sea and things like that. And I mean, what I need to do is either get some earphones, like you said, or maybe some speakers so I can play them in my room at night. Yeah, definitely. Control Voice says here on 3 of 3, baseball is actually quite popular in Japan, and was introduced as far back as 1872 by an American professor. There was a Tom Selleck fish out of water comedy released in 1992 called Mr. Baseball, and Selleck portrays a professional baseball player who trained a team in Japan. All right, yeah. I mean, it has been introduced in a few countries semi-successfully. Then, I mean, there is. I think you can probably find a league almost anywhere. There's probably one here in Britain, but I don't know of any other country in the world in which it's played with the fervour and the centrality in the sporting world as it is in the United States. I mean, it plays the role that maybe football or cricket does here in Britain. Except football and cricket are played internationally, whereas baseball is really centred on that one country. 3 of 3, Bumbelina. We love you the way you are. Thanks, Bumbelina. I'm glad to have that reassurance. I think I said that because I wanted people to reassure me. I really did. Snarnock, hey Snarnock, how do you do? 1 of 3. Thank you for braving the extreme heat to bring us your excellent report of the conference and an interesting travelogue. You're very welcome, Snarnock. 1 of 3, Snarnock. Did William the Uber driver comment on your T-shirt? He didn't know, but several other people did. There was even someone on the. There was someone on there. There was someone on the airport did. Several people at the airport did. Like one of the security guards mentioned it. Yeah. Snark says on 2 or 3, did Joel Hynek mention what his brother thought of the Alien interview from his movie special effects knowledge? Right, no he didn't, and I think that's something I should have asked. If I ever see him again, I will ask him that question. And I'm sure, I don't know if any of the other guys have, like John Stewart, have said anything to him. I'd be interested to know, or Andrew Burlington, because that would be very interesting to know if he had something to say about it. I know that obviously if you've watched the documentary with Sean David Morton, you'll know that a number of special effects experts were consulted, and they have differing opinions of what they think of the interview. 2 of 3, Snarnock. I would not be surprised if Linda Moulton Howe did not mention Devon Island when she talked about Mars. It's really embarrassing, but I was very drowsy during her talk, and this is not because she was boring. She was very interesting. It's just the insomnia and everything, and I was like, yeah. Right, 3 of 3, Snarnock. During the discussion about Vietnam, when you were having breakfast, it would have been interesting if you'd mentioned to the others the use of cloud seeding to wash out the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Yes, as I did if you watch my Storm Apocalypse live stream, you'll see all about that. I mentioned that. But, Snarnock, also my Heatwave live stream last year, which is kind of like a repeat of it. It was not really, I didn't really get into that depth of discussion because I was in the middle of talking to this guy about it, and immediately this younger guy butts in, and it really then turns into a two-hander between those two. 3 of 3, Snarnock. Regarding Porter surnames that you mentioned, what do you think of Janet Street Porter and her accent? Her accent is quite unusual, but I do wish she'd said more about Jimmy Savile when she had the chance. Oh, Dave Yorkshire, right. Dave Yorkshire, this is interesting. David Yorkshire has said this. The creation of Hamas was actually funded by Israel. I did a video on it. Right, this is... Dave's channel is very interesting, and he has mentioned this to me before.
For the day, I wanted to come back to the Palestine-Israel war.
Yeah, right. I've not actually watched all of this yet. It's a 60-minute video. Thought for the day, why is no one talking about the history of Hamas? Yeah, absolutely. And that's very interesting, Dave, and I will watch the rest of that because I've been watching. I don't know if you're familiar with Efrat Henningsen. If not, she's well worth watching and reading her Substack because she's former IDF intelligence, and what she said about the October 7th attack is just gobsmacking, and she brings all this evidence to bear from her own experience about the real story behind it, which was basically it was like Pearl Harbor. It was a lie hop. Let it happen on purpose. Tessa says on 3 of 3. The thing that bugs me about Richard Dolan, is that when interviewing or being interviewed, he interrupts and won't let anyone have an opinion except him. Tough to listen to. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I've got to be fair to the guy. He seems to be... I mean, he seems to be okay when it comes to that sort of thing. He seems to be quite professional when it comes to being interviewed. So I don't think that's absolutely fair. What I would say, though, is what bugs me about him is when he's not being interviewed and he's socialising and you're sitting at a table in a pub with him. That's exactly what he does. And he does other things as well, which rub me up the wrong way. But like I said, that was like 14 years ago now. Almost 13, almost 14 years ago. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's mellowed with age. 1 of 3. TK, 90% off for Pals of the Illuminati. Right, what does that make me, TK? Because I got 100% off. I must be super Illuminati. I must be the Incunabula. I must be the Council of 13. 1 of 3. Jonathan Carlos says... Hi Ben, hope you had a great time away and Bungle didn't miss you too much. Bungle, you alright? Bungle's mouth is covered up by my second pillow right now. Unrelated to these videos, which I will watch when I get the time, did you or anyone here experience anything this Sunday gone, the 9th? Everybody I spoke to from varying situations and location was in a foul negative mood, including myself. I even found listening to you annoying, which meant it must have been bad, as your vids are kind of my chill out. Oh, thanks, mate. Well, I'm glad you enjoy them, Jonathan. But he carries on. Mind off things and in a way safe space in the moment. I am listening. Don't think that way now, of course. Just yesterday when I was in this negative state, drive state. Right, this was the 9th. When was that? Let's go to my diary. So this was, yeah, oh, right. I don't actually remember. I remember that I just recorded this interview for HPANWO Radio. I did some gardening for this lady. I don't remember that specifically. I don't remember. I could have been. Were other people like that? Does anyone else watching this want to comment? Anyway, Jonathan says here, I just found it all a bit odd, really, and reaching out to you, as I know you, unlike some, would open up about it if you felt or experienced something similar. Anyway, hope you're well, mate. Thanks, Jonathan. What was I doing at the time? Best way to judge is to go to my blogs and see what I was doing at the time. So let's have a look. I'll let you see this. So what was I doing at the time? Well, there we are. Oh, I was doing my interview with Rin, Sunday the 9th of June. Well, I was in quite a good mood during that video, I think. The day before, I made my first video about Hynek, and then I had the video banned on the 11th. Second video about Hynek. Let's have a look at HPANWO Voice. What was I doing then? The 11th of June. What was I doing? Oh, I wrote this article. Farage is back again. It doesn't seem particularly irritable. What about HPANWO Radio? Let's have a look. The 10th I did third rail. Oh, I did the gas spanner. It was my St. Theo special. So no, I don't think there was anything particularly untoward at that time, Jonathan. But anyway, if anyone else wants to comment, please do. Video banned 11. Oh dear, 2 more. Next to full channel? Question mark. Popcorn. I hope not. I mean, I've still got 2 lives left of the 3 I've given up on the terms of red strikes. But you know, I'm not gonna self-censor. Video banned 11. Popcorn boxing. I had no idea you had a cat. You should watch me on TikTok. Popcorn boxing. Rhiannon said, neither did Ben until a couple of days ago. Lol. He's quite beautiful, though. I mean, Hynek, the cat, not Ben. If we tell Ben he's beautiful, he may start wearing his David Icke wig again. Oh, Popcorn says, lol. Oh, Hynek is actually, yeah. I mean, I'll probably miss him when he has to go, because he will have to go at some point. But we don't know how long he's going to be with us, and I'm going to enjoy his company while then. Alright, so we have, with video banned 11, Darren IQ says, bit counterproductive YouTube, banning videos. As soon as they ban one, I immediately look for it on alt tech to see what all the fuss is about. Ha Darren! Pardon me. Forbidden fruit, it's the Streisand effect, yes. This is not going to work. This censorship will not work. It's just that, and this censorship is going to get worse. I mean, I'll say more maybe next week or the week after when the election happens. But in the next 5 years, they're going to go hell-bent for leather on this censorship, and it's going to really make more and more effort. But all their efforts are backfiring, and what's to come will not be any different. Darren says on 3 of 3. Ben, next time you go to a conference, let everyone know beforehand in case they want to go as well. All right, Darren. Well, I did. I mean, I did mention I was going to Contact in the Desert. And I also mentioned I was going to the Basis Project, which is the most recent conference I've been to. So I do mention it in advance. For example, what am I going to next? I'm going to the ASAP. Let's have a look. All right. No, I'm doing my own. I'm doing my own event. I'm doing 2 events in the beginning of August. This is the Dorset two in Dorset, one in the Weymouth Spiritual Centre, another in another place. Go to HPANWO Voice, you'll find details of those, and then I'm going to the ASAP Seriously Strange conference as well, which is I think it's the beginning of September. Reply to comments 97. Darren says again, I personally think a lot of the comments on here are made up by you, Ben. In fact, you probably made this one up too. Oh, of course. What would I do? I'd have to have something to talk to, and well, I always talk to myself if no one else will, because that's how I get intelligent conversation. Video Band 11, Fetler John says, "Blimey, how frustrating." Yeah, I sign into Gmail every day with trepidation, thinking, "What now? What else have they bloody found?" Video Band 11. Hynek is beautiful. Yes, she is, isn't she? And it is a she in SureTech, yes. Crafty says, yeah, I never knew he even existed. What existed? What other secrets is Ben keeping from us? Well, Crafty, not many, just secrets of discretion more than deception. And certainly no deception for you. And fact of the matter is, I didn't know Hynek existed until I got back. As Lianon said, he turned up on St. Theo's Day. The landlord just dropped him off here, and Akbat and Hossan looked after him until I got home. That's when I found out he was here, because no one told me. But and I reported. I made a video soon after then. And Neil says, Hynek is there to make YouTube think Ben's channel is going to be all about cats. Neil, yes, it's a scam. I actually brought Hynek into the house as a scam to stop the AI algorithms deleting me. Hugo Rune says, speak your mind, Ben. I will. No, I'm not going to self-censor. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm not going to go down that path because, as I said, it's a slippery slope. Before you know it, you'll be just going around on tiptoes, and everything you upload will be shit. So no, Popcorn Boxing. Are cat videos the future of this channel? Probably not. Crafty says, I hope so. I low-key hope so. Well, I think Hynek might be around for a while because, I explain on TikTok why. But probably not. Probably he won't be forever, no. User QO says on Video Band 11, excuse me, I think you should appeal YouTube's decision. A coming zombie apocalypse isn't out of the question at all. In fact, what many people forget is the rabies virus is more or less a zombie virus. YouTube are ignorant towards science fact. You should also consider backing up every video before YouTube throws the ban hammer again. Right, I'm not going to appeal this decision, user, simply because I know exactly what it's going to be, and I know according to their TOS they have sort of like got me cornered. There's no point putting in an appeal unless there's a way out of it that way. Well, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of turning me down again. I'm not. Now, if you watch my zombie video, you'll know that indeed I do take the idea of a zombie apocalypse seriously. And and that's the whole point of my zombie videos. But I don't. It's possible that the rabies virus is a part of that, but there's other viruses as well. As for backing up every video before YouTube throws the ban hammer, I do. And in fact, if you follow me on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble, you'll see my video. Every video I put on YouTube is there also, or almost every video. I mean, the one I lost from New Horizons. The only reason I didn't back it up is it's pretty much a useless video. It's an early and not very good rendition of my zombie talk. There's much better ones which are already available. But yeah, I do. Oh yeah, I don't put all my eggs in the YouTube basket anymore. Definitely not. Ben in the Desert, part 1 of 2. Ethel Reader, I really enjoyed every minute of that, Ben. Oh, thanks very much. I'm glad you did, Ethel Reader. Crafty Nihilist says on Video Band 11. What? Makes you think the really crazy conspiracy viruses about zombies are true. See Freeman Fly. Freeman Fly. Read five grapes and the dead waking up. Also, sorry, won't be getting TikTok, Ben. Also, who is Hynek? Is he yours? So many questions after this video. All right. Oh, Crafty, I mean, I know you won't get TikTok. You don't have to get the app, but do look at it on the browser because it's just little short 6-minute, 7-minute videos in which I explain exactly who Hynek is and what he's doing in my home. And all you have to do is go to TikTok, go to it on the browser and put in Ben the JR Porter and you'll find me. Freeman Fly. Oh, yeah, that's right. I've heard of him, yeah. But the 5 grapes thing is a big thing, yeah. Crafty says on Video Band 11, to be fair, we do have Mark jumping up and down in a silly costume on our channel. Oh right, he does do that occasionally. Yeah. Although Mark, of course, has been doing the same as me. He's been off on adventures, and there's some very interesting videos on the Crafty Nice channel about Mark's own reportage about where he went, because he went somewhere that is arguably even more interesting than the place I went. Do watch them. Yes, Göbekli Tepe. Video Band 11. Good for you, Ben, not succumbing to their will. Thanks very much. Drubber 007, thank you very much. Here we go again. Tessa on video 11. What a darling bobby cat. I know it's all black, but me granny called all black and white cats Bobby. She was from Abraman. All right, Tessa. Yeah, funny enough, Heineck has a tiny little white patch on his chest. But apart from that, he is an all-black cat, yes. TK says, naughty Ben, making the internet all dirty with trash again. You're naughty, get out. Not allowed. Not allowed in a Charlie Veitch voice. Not allowed, yes. I know, isn't it awful? Oh, my goodness me. Video Band 11. Jorge Rodriguez says, BS in, BS out. God, yeah. Definitely, it's awful, isn't it? Oh. I mean, this is just like, what they think. What sort of business model is this? I mean, any right-minded company would never do this. It's only because YouTube is no longer really a private company. It's a public utility, a state propaganda operative that it does this. Definitely. David Smith says on Video Band 11, I love a nice black pussy. I bet you do. Yeah, I was expecting. Yeah, that's I think the second unoriginal pussy joke I've had. I'm sure there'll be more of them on TikTok. Oh, we now have on Video Band 11. Oh, I've got a YouTube link. What's this? This is from Bunnet Darn. What does Bunnet Darn have to say? What's this? Just waiting for it to unopen. Oh, my screen. Oh, here we go. Right, let's see. Miami Nice. What's this? Elastica, the Menace. Alright. What's music? Miami Nice, Elastica. Right. Alright, okay. Thanks, well, that's a music video from Bunny Darn. Thank you very much, Bunny Darn, for that little musical interlude. That's much appreciated. Am I still recording? Yes, I am. Oh, good. Oh, we've got another one here. All right, Bunny Darn, thanks for the music. I'll have a look at that later. But I do like a bit of music, so yeah, definitely. And Bunny Darn says, love you, Ben. Oh, thanks, Bunny Darn. Thank you very much. I'll check out your music videos later. Always another one here. Thank you, Bunny Darn. Much appreciated. And we have Rachel's Eyes book review. Oh, this is an old one now. This is a book. This is a video I made a couple of years ago. Alex Lifeson says, I read the book and I felt for the female who had to try and live amongst humans. Interesting book that you wanted to find out what happened next. Yes, it's excellent. It's an excellent book. It's really gripping actually and really absorbing. It's really quite extraordinary. It really is. Ethelreda says here on Ben in the Desert Part 2 of 3, you wouldn't be able to move me from that pool bar. I really like William Henry. By the way, Mona seemed very nice. Oh, Ethelreda, I think I know who you are now. Yeah, I know you by a different name. Yeah. Oh, yes, the pool bar is fantastic. I mean, the one thing I would bring with me in my luggage, which I didn't bring this time, if I go back there again, is swimming trunks. Yes, like Colin and Mark brought theirs. Definitely, I get some pool time. Definitely. Yeah, well, William Henry, Mona was very nice. She's a very nice lady, actually. She's very likeable. Yeah, definitely. As I said, she had a holiday romance with someone else, and I wasn't going to get in the way. David Splendid Isolation. We are Basis Summer Seminar. And this is a new one. First one to David Splendid Isolation. Ben, you spoil us with all these videos. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome, David. Here's another one for you. Same video, Bumbelina says here. Just to let you know that I appreciate all the work you put into these vids. I really enjoy them. Thanks, Bumbelina. I'm glad you do, and I hope you like this new one as well. Same video, Dark Corners. Thanks, as always, for taking us with you on another adventure. You're welcome, Dark Corners. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And Diego Rivera says, hey, here we go. Israel Diego Rivera, genius to the real genius, says on bases. You did plenty of steps, Ben. I did indeed. Yes, yes, indeed. And I've got to get some new shoes. User TL says here on the Hollingwell incident. All right, this is an old one. Government testing microwave weapons. Right. Yeah, I've actually done another video. You might be interested in this, user. I won't give you a link now. You can find it on my channel. I've done another video, a more recent one, with an interview with Christian. What's his name? Christian somebody. About this whole thing. About this Hollingwell incident, and you'll find it on there. Because Christian has his own ideas about it. Christian Lander. Christian Lander. He has his own ideas about the Hollingwell incident, and indeed the Notts Roswell. So do check those videos out. Basis Summer Seminar. Green tea. Hello, green tea. Oh, what's happening now? I've got a freeze up. Got a browser freeze up. Oh, here we go. Right. I'll just paste. Right, yeah. Very good point about no cash. If the computer says no, we won't even be able to help a stranger with bus fare. No, no, no. Yes, exactly. And indeed, I didn't do it myself, and maybe I should have, but there was a very kind person who helped out the lady in the lady that lady in at the bus. Yes, she did indeed. And we go up here. There's another one. Up here we have here, and we've sorry. It seems like they got a little bit of a slow working browser, but we have here. Sure. Oh, I have to pause a minute. Oh, here we go. Right. Oh, we got a long comment. Oh, sure. Leanne Raven. Right. On this particular video. On this particular. Sorry, things are going a bit slow at the moment. My browser is kind of like hourglassing. You should get to use your new computer, Ben. Yes, I know I should do. I've got a new bloody computer, and I'm not. The reason I'm not using it is because it's just too convenient. I've got everything I need on this one. So I'm sort of like running it and driving it till the wheels drop off, basically. Anyway, some thoughts, says Rhiannon Raven on the Bases Project Summer Seminars. Is that lady confusing Venusians with Venetians, I do wonder. Oh, right. Yes. Oh, what's happening now? Okay. You have Venusians with Venetians. Yeah. Yes, Venusians with Venetians. I mean, Venus, of course, is a hot planet with no real ability to, harbour life. But I do wonder, is there something more going on there? Ben, you are the ultimate shoe compliment. Yes, indeed. Sandy's leather ankle boots. Very nice indeed. The Michael Mosley situation, right? Yeah, has all the hallmarks of a 411 case. Found on boulders next to water and close to a cafe, and despite helicopters and search teams searching the exact area several times over several days, nobody saw or smelt the body. Yeah, exactly. It's a typical, everyone goes looking for it. They have sniffer dogs, they have like helicopters, they have infrared, they have everything. And they find nothing, and then suddenly the body just... And he was lying, he was sort of lying like that with his head back, resting on a boulder as if he was asleep. Again, you get that. You get either the body turns up sort of like looking relaxed and normal and sort of resting, or either that, or the belongings then show up. And very often you have the shoes neatly put together and the clothes folded and things like that. It's very odd. Nobody does a nicer breakfast than Weatherspoons. You are at a risk of turning elitist. Oh, I don't know about that. I think the New Society, the Blairite New Society breakfast is quite something. It really is. How does someone confirm telepathy with a gorilla? Right, Julie Phelps said that she'd... was it Julie? No, was it Julie Phelps? Who was it who said she had telepathy with a gorilla? Was it that Kirkham lady? Was it that Miss Kirkham, whatever her name was? Oh, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I would sooner pull my eyelids over the back of my head than drink my own wee, or anyone else's for that matter. I think I'd have to be persuaded of its medical benefits enormously. I never went in for it during the CMR days, because of course it was a huge thing. I mean, if you ever listen to the old CMR shows, and indeed I've got them, I've got my contribution, all of them, on my archive. It sort of took off. It was allegedly Dave who started it off. and it very quickly caught on with the other hosts, and pretty soon everyone in the live chat was talking about their urine drinking. Now, urine therapy does work for skin conditions. If you have like eczema, like I had, you're bathing in your own urine, or just weeing in the bath, just mixing your own urine in with the bath water, has a beneficial effect, and that's medically proven. I have heard a few accounts of UFOs appearing over Port Talbot. I suspect they may have been interested in the steelworks. Yeah, I've just seen a news story about the steelworks, about how they're under attack again by the government. Yeah, I was like, British industry, the worst enemy for the government. They hate us. I can remember back to my teenage years before the interweb was a thing. Several instances of chain letters which threatened various tragedies befalling anyone who refused to handwrite further copies of the original and send them on to further victims. I was quite bemused at the time as to why anyone would do this, and even more confused by the people who actually believed tragedy would befall them if they did not comply. I suppose this is how magic and coercive control works. Yeah. There were also others which said things like, send this on to 10 of your friends and send 10 pence to the person at the top of the list, and you'll in 6 months' time you'll get £1 million sent to you. It's a Ponzi scheme. That's the original concept of a Ponzi scheme, I think. Yeah. Miles appears to be mellowing as he matures, like a fine cheese. Yes, Miles was surprisingly placid and sort of genial. I don't know if someone dropped some ecstasy into his coffee. I don't know what it was, but he was in a very good mood, and I'm pleased for him. And Miles deserves to be proud of what he does, and he deserves. I'm glad he's happy about what he does, because he should be. He's achieved so much, and he's given so much to everyone. It's thanks to him this community exists. Are plutocrats rich alien from Pluto? Are plutocrats rich aliens from Pluto? You're like the Venetians of Venus. Yes. No, I think plutocrats. I think they come straight from Uranus. I'm pretty sure Mark Pilkington has written articles for 40 Times. He has. Yes, I've read a few of them, and he used to write in the UFO. He used to have it wasn't a UFO column, but he had like a UFO section. He used to contribute, and as I said, Mark tends to say he has his position, which he tends to repeat quite a bit. But I have criticisms of it, as you know. But I always listen to him. I will read his book when it comes out. I'm having mental images of David Grush singing Michael's anti-HR song Bard Romance. That would be cool. That would be a cool music video. Thank you for another great reportage, Ben. You're welcome, Rhiannon Raven. Oh God, you got to see. Oh dear, you got to it's called Rhiannon, you post the name of it, but I know it's Songs of Impish Savagery is the album. It's by Michael, who's Rhiannon's partner. I think I actually mentioned it in the Weird Weekend video. But there's one called Bard Romance, which is all about girl bosses and human resource. Oh, if you want to hear these songs, just listen to HPANWO Radio, because I play them there. I played them on the last Syntheo's. I played it on the last Syntheo's gas banner. Basis 2024. Fetler John says, fascinating stuff, Ben. Thanks for sharing. You're very welcome, Fetler John. You're very welcome. Afribina says on Basis, great video. Thank you, Afribina. You're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And Crafty Nile says on Basis, I'm going in. Yes. Unlubed. Yes, indeed. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the experience, the rather extreme experience with the whips and chains. Basis 2024. Oh, Tor Engen. Hello, Tor. How you doing? Related to the Miami case, I have added some information I found by accident. All right, I've got a bit of an update on that as well. One they saw was large and thin entities, and also transparent, but they had eyes. Yeah, one of them was captured on camera. It looks a bit like that anyway. It could be. You can't tell. It's not clear enough, but it was captured on a police helicopter cam. It looked like they had some kind of helmet on them, and one tried to grab one of them, but they was transparent. Both got burns after the experience. But this, right, yeah. Actually, Tor Engen, do check out HPANWO Voice. I've just written an article a guy called Anthony Poe has come forward claiming that he faked these Miami aliens, or at least he contributed to the chaos and the viral sensation, which I don't believe, and I've explained why. Anyway, he carries on. But this happened in Vallentuna, Sweden. The first case in the 1980s and the latter in 1974. And one was experienced. The last one was related to regression, and both had no knowledge of each other and also no information of the other cases. Well, I've never heard of those either. I will Google them after and try and find out, because maybe I should hang around shopping centres a little bit more often in case something happens. Yeah. The Crafty Nihilist says on Basis 2012-24 Summer Seminar, blimey, Ben, Awake and Aware is 4 million times better than ASAP. I wouldn't say 4 million, but honestly, if Crafty, there are other circumstances, right? Which is, firstly, I've already bought the tickets and booked the hotel. Secondly, I promised some friends that I would go with them, which means this is why I'm going to ASAP. But honestly, if I had to choose between the two, I probably would choose Awake and Aware. Yeah. if I was going in without any decisions made already, I would choose Awake and Aware. Yeah, but I'm going to have a nice time at ASAP. I have every reason to think I'm going to have a great time at the ASAP Seriously Strange conference. So yeah. Ralph Winter says on Basis 2024 Summer, nice one, Ben. Good vid. Gudvid. I think that's Swedish for I don't know. I think it's Swedish for happy something. Not happy birthday. Happy best wishes or something. DJ B2 says on Summer Seminar, phone pay always takes longer than cash. It's bloody infuriating waiting for someone fumbling with their idiot phone. Another good reason to stick with cash. Cash is king, yeah. But thanks, Ralph Winter. Thanks, DJ B2. DJ B2. If you do a video in Swindon, see if you can find Freddie. We need video proof. Find Freddie. Is there someone in video? I would like to find the podcast of the Lotus Eaters. Do an exclusive video from their studio. But I'm going to go back to Swindon. I'm going to go to Swindon and do a special video then when I can. Yeah. Basis 2024 Summer Seminar. Gary in Leeds. Hi, Gary. Thanks for the update, Ben. You're very welcome, Gary. You're very welcome. Summer Seminar, Dr. John Nolan. Hi, Ben. Has Colin moved on from the alien autopsy? You must be joking. He's still as passionate about it as ever. Ethel Reader says on Basis 2024, fantastic. Thanks so much, Ben. You're very welcome, Ethel Reader. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Erased says here on Basis, great video review, Ben. I watched the live stream of Sunday afternoon and thought the three ladies speaking were very interesting. I'd recommend that. Right, that's Sandy Adams, Lucy Wyatt, and Teresa. What's her name? Tanner Hill. Yeah, they were kind of like a triple bill, weren't they? I'd recommend John Lash's Not in His Image. Oh right, yes, someone else talked about that. Yeah. Who else talked about it? Yes, someone else said read John Lash's Not in His Image. Yeah, great author with a unique take on the Gnostic texts. He has an interesting YouTube channel where he gives his own commentary on what's happening in the world. Oh yes, John Lash. I think I've looked at it. John Lash. Yes, John Lamb Lash, is that him? Yes, Nag Hammadi Codices, right. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I will check that out. Oh right, and Razor provides a link to the article. Yeah, to the article. Oh, sorry, to the YouTube channel. Mason Free Party says on Basis 2024 Summer Seminar, let's see what happens in October 2024 when we have a big outer planetary alignment on the same side of the Sun, plus a bright comet appears in the sky, very similar to the 1811 and 12 and AD 79, both very turbulent times seismically. All right, Mason Free Party, thanks for the information. I'm not like a big astrology buff, I must admit, but at the same time, I have a feeling that my timer's not working. Or maybe it is. I'm just going to reload it. Oh, it is, right. Yes, it's just I just needed to refresh a bit. It's so Mason Free Party at the same time. You know, I take astrology very seriously, and I know that there are certain like things such as planetary alignments, full moons in the eclipse and things like that, and full moons in well, full moons don't happen in the eclipse, obviously, because eclipses only happen in a new moon. But full moons at solstices and things like that. I know they mean something, and I'm open-minded to that at all. I'm very open-minded to astrology, even though it's not something I'm an expert on. But funnily enough, the crop circle that just appeared, this new crop circle, it literally just popped up out of nowhere. It's the first one. I think I showed you it, didn't I? You can work it out anyway. It's like a circle with it looks like a solar system planetary alignment. It's the first crop circle. I think it's the only crop circle to appear so far in this particular season. It's weird because the last one appeared just before the first Basis Project conference last year. I remember. Yeah. But it may relate to that alignment that you're talking about. Yeah, we'll see what happens, shan't we? I know that one thing. I mean, if you watch the Contact in the Desert reportage, you'll know that Danny Sheehan has a lot to say about October. October the 18th, to be precise. Billy Big Bores says on Bases, Benny boy, you had a wee twinkle in your eye when you were talking to that lady. Oh, Sandy Adams, you mean, do you? Oh, blimey. I must stop being so transparent. Diego Rivera. Does Miles like Marmite and black coffee? Yes, he does, but not in the same cup. Oh, right, Dom Jolly's Conspiracy Show, right. Rab MCM says here, he's a funny guy, Dom Jolly, who at least sees the other side of the argument. Yes, I mean, I did find him amusing, even though he's obviously very much a skeptic and very anti-conspiratorial. I mean, I can forgive someone that if they're entertaining. Bases, Snarnock. Greatly enjoyed your video as usual, Ben. Always enjoyable to watch. Thank you, Snarnock. You're very welcome. Snarnock said here also, I've noticed that when people pay using a smartphone at the till at my local supermarket, they always take ages and keep the rest of the queue waiting. So much for the amazing convenience they bring. Yeah, Snarnock. Cash is king. Another, you see, people say, oh, it's so convenient not to have cash. No, it's not, especially when the machine breaks down. Or you get some, like you say, some idiot in front of you who doesn't know how to press buttons. And Snarnock also says here on Bases, what does Miles think about his neighbours either side of his house? Does he get on well with them? I mean, he doesn't. And I mentioned this on a previous reportage. I was actually just walking into the Bases Project headquarters on one evening, and the neighbour was coming out at the same time. And I turned and I said, hi there, good evening, and smiled and waved. And he said, who the fuck are you? And just walked off. Charming. I mean... So I think Miles is a bit of a local pariah. I expect that he, it's one of these things where, heads leaning together in the village shop, people leaning over garden fences and talking kind of person, I mean, maybe that's the best thing to be in, because Devizes has its own equivalent of Normieville, and if people aren't talking about you in sort of hushed tones and frowned brows, then you're doing something wrong. Same video, Snarnock says here, I think the butterfly in King Davos the Third's portrait represents... yes. King Davos the Third, yes. represents the metamorphosis of the old world into the NWO, caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly. You know what, Snarnock, I think you're right. I think Ellis Taylor will have a lot to say about that too. I'm hoping to meet up with him soon, yeah. Snarnock, did you manage to chat to Matthew Williams? Yes, I did. And we had a good conversation about UFOs and things like that. I did my usual. I asked him about the crop circles, and he said, no comment. Because he won't actually say about whether crops... He'll claim that they're all man-made, and I'll say, well, who makes them then? He says, I can't tell you. I mean, if we woo-woos did that, the skeptics would be onto us like nobody's business, would they? Steve-O, you forgot your razor, Ben. I know, but I was only there for a couple of 2 days. It was plus 2 days travelling, so it was a much shorter excursion than Contact in the Desert, which means I can put up with a bit of stubble for a couple of days. Right, that, ladies and gentlemen, is BitChute finished. So now we're going to go. How much time have I got left? I've still got another 10 minutes. We'll start on. Sorry, that was YouTube finished. I always do this. I get my platforms mixed up. That's YouTube finished, so we're going to go over to BitChute. I've got some notes actually I need to go through for BitChute. and we'll go through all the old tech sites, and I will not forget TikTok this time. Okay, so I'll start as always with the videos that have been uploaded since the last comments reply video. So we'll start with reply to comments 97. See what it has to say. By the way, if there's any little cutouts, there may be moments when I'm sort of silent for a while on this recording. That's because again, it's my computer doing weird things. Right, here we go. Discuss this video. Right. Alright, now we have here only action matters. Right, oh yes, this only action. Right, I've got some notes I want to make here, because someone said they've actually deleted their comment, but I'm still going to read it out because oh, actually is it the same? No, it's not the same. It's the same person. But someone did actually write on one of my videos. Which one was it? Yes, it was this one. Reply to comments 97. Dude, you just wasted nearly 2 hours of my time. Please never message me again. And I replied, I didn't message you. I left you a comment you chose to put on my video. If you don't want to reply, then don't comment. Simple as. And it looks like this person has taken my advice and they've deleted their comment, which is fine by me. Right, now we have someone called XA. I don't know how you pronounce this. It's XAWTOBOROCI. It's Xortobor. Right. This is an interesting comment. Thank you for your reply, Ben. For someone who thinks that the situation in Palestine has no global significance and therefore isn't really important, you certainly did get very irate when answering my question. So obviously, you do feel very passionately about this subject. It is also false to reduce what's happening in Gaza to a regional conflict for two reasons. One, the conflict has spread to Lebanon, Yemen, Syria and Iran, and includes forces from Britain, the US, forces on the ground in Gaza, France, Holland too, and two, it is not a conflict, it is a genocide. All genocides are significant. You are downplaying a genocide and therefore are tacitly supporting it. I notice that the words definition of a shill stuck in your throat. As we know, Israel has been offering monetary incentives to content producers like yourself to show Israel in a favourable light. To show that you yourself are not a shill, I will give you another opportunity to denounce, without qualification, the genocide in Gaza. Right. Interesting comment there. A lot to unpack here, a lot to unpick. Right, I don't think I got irate at your question. I think I feel annoyed that everyone, that we're put into this position. And I brought this up with Rin Michaelis. It's like being in Merseyside, as I explained. I mean, I don't know if you're British, because if you're not, you won't understand this. But it's like being in Merseyside when Liverpool and Everton are in the FA Cup final. Whose side are you on? You've got to be on one side or the other. You can't be on both. That's a Brummie accent, so it'll be in a Liverpudlian accent. Whose side are you on then? You can't be both. It's got to be one or the other. One or the other. Or one or the other. Yeah. What's ironic, Zord boys, I've seen people, white British men, expressing an opinion on this and being told by people from both sides, you shouldn't be expressing an opinion on this because you're not qualified to comment because you're not Jewish / Muslim, right? So which is it? Am I qualified to comment or not? Because I am neither Jewish nor Muslim. I'm not Israeli. I'm not Palestinian. So I am. Are you saying I am therefore qualified to comment? Right. You've not really explained why the issue between Israel and Palestine is of more than a regional conflict, because I think it's got a lot to do with this idea that Israel is a special country. Israel is different to the other countries. Israel is the source of all the world's good or all the world's evil, depending on your opinions. And therefore, to be fair, there is some sort of... Israel does seem to have some sort of significance when you consider the amount of foreign aid it gets. As you mentioned Germany. Now, Germany has provided Israel with 4... nuclear submarines. I mean, nuclear in the sense that they have nuclear weapons. They have an air-independent propulsion, so they're almost as good. They're almost as good as nuclear powered, and much quieter. They've also provided a lot of money, and the amount of money and foreign aid, and especially armaments, from the United States and from Germany and other places, is incredible. I mean, Israel is some kind of like massive. It's almost like a baby bird the way it's sucking up foreign investment. The reason, I know what are the reasons for that? Again, there's various opinions. I mean, Douglas Murray would say it's because Israel is a beacon of civilization. It's the only democracy in the Middle East, and I can't do his voice. But other people would say it's because Israel secretly runs the world and controls the US. There's several opinions. All right, I don't agree with any of those. I don't see any evidence for any of those. And if you watch my video, J-word, it's just J-word, you know what I'm talking about. You'll know what I mean. Now, as far as the conflict spread, the conflict is, for the reasons I've just explained, the fact that Israel has all this foreign significance, it has all this this strange culture, it's put on this strange economic, socio-economic, cultural, political pedestal, which doesn't seem to make any sense. Inevitably, it's going to affect other countries, so Lebanon, Yemen, Syria, Iran, you mentioned. We're nearly done. And indeed, of course, because of the foreign aid. I mean, now you mentioned British and US forces are on the US forces are on the ground in Gaza. If that's the case, then it's been kept very quiet. I know there are US forces and British forces on the ground in Ukraine in an advisory position. Of course, that's how the Vietnam War started, didn't it? With advisory forces being sent there. France, Netherlands, yeah. Now, the definition of genocide is you say all genocides are significant. And I asked this to Rin. There are people in the Netanyahu regime who speak openly about the need to ethnically cleanse Palestine. And they commit what I believe is genocide, or incitement to genocide. At the same time, there are people in the Palestinian Authority and Hamas who do exactly the same. So it appears there is an attempted genocide going on in that region, in the Holy Land. But it is the attempted genocide is there was two attempted genocides against each other. So I think both sides appear to have genocidal intentions on the other. Yeah. So, and do I denounce without qualification genocide? Yes, I do. I always denounce without qualification anything that harms innocent people. Now, the question is the operation by the IDF in Gaza currently a genocide? I don't know, because I've seen propaganda from both sides. I've had people saying they're bombing these places, and I know, because I've been studying the hospital situation, that is a terrible thing. But is it done deliberately to eliminate the civilian population, or is this the inevitable result of fighting a major type 4 warfare in a dense urban environment? Because that wouldn't be a genocide. And Douglas Murray and other people, they say it's not, but you get other people saying that it is. And I don't know which it is, because I hear propaganda from both sides, and I see people, white, British, non-Jews and non-Muslims, being told we're not qualified to comment, and we're supposed to just believe, and I don't do either. This is crazy. See, this is what I mean by polarization. You are downplaying a genocide and therefore tacitly supporting it. I'm not. You see, this is the thing. This is the situation. Oh, you want to sit on the fence, therefore you are you are A, B, and C for sitting on the fence, right? Yeah. Well, I sit on the fence in the Myanmar civil war. I sit on the fence when it comes to the West Papuans versus West Idrian conflict in New Guinea. There's a dozen ethnic tensions that I sit on the fence in because I'm not involved. Now, that's not unreasonable. That's not an unreasonable position to have. As I said, I am on the side of every innocent person caught up in this, Palestinian or Israeli. But this is what I said. This is Israel. Rin Michaelis and I just discussed this. I said that if you express any sentiment for the welfare of people on one side in this conflict, you are immediately accused of being the most rabid supporter of the other side. So when I say I'm not going to go like, oh, Israel is evil, viva, Palestina, viva, river to the sea, right? Therefore, I'm the opposite. I'm flipped to the other polarity. I'm downplaying and tacitly supporting a genocide. Do you see the nonsensical nature of what your position, Xortorbo OCI? Now, I noticed you say, I noticed the word definition of a shill stuck in your throat. Did it stick in my throat? I don't know about that. That's why I have my dragon juice. As we know, Israel, this is him talking, Israel has been offering monetary incentives to content producers like yourself to show Israel in a favourable light. Well, if they haven't offered me anything. If they did, I would refuse. Would you believe me? But the answer is I would, whether you believe me or not. Now there may be individuals, and indeed Rin and I discussed this. There may be individuals, influencers within the world of journalism and social media, who are indeed being approached by Israeli agents of the Israeli regime, to promote Israel in a favourable light. I mean, in a sense, I talked about this with Rin. This is what the Friends of Israel thing is about. This is what AIPAC does. They get MPs and people like that, and journalists and other people. They give them on to. It's like the Potemkin villages that David Yorkshire was talking about. They give them tours of Israel. They get them laid. They get them drunk. They give them good food and things like that. So isn't that what we're talking about here? And you say here, to show that you yourself are not a shill, says X, whatever he's called, I'll give you another opportunity to denounce without qualification the genocide in Gaza. Okay, right. I denounce any attack on innocent people in war that's deliberate and targeted. Right. If that's good enough for you, good. If it's not, I don't care. But that's my answer. Moving on. Ben in the Desert, 1 of 3. Discuss this video. No comments. Ben in the Desert, 2. Ben in the Desert, 2 of 3. Oh, that's the end of hour number 2. Right. I've got no comments on that either. So that's the end of hour number 2. We'll continue in hour number 3 shortly. Alright, welcome to hour number 3. And so we now gone contacting Ben in the Desert part 3 of 3. No comments. I've got no comments at all on BitChute on any of these Ben in the Desert videos. Right, with Rin Michaelis 10, Israel and Hamas. Let's see. What do we have here? Discuss this video. No comments. Okay. I think I've got a lot on Odyssey. I think video band 11. Right. I've got some notes to go to video band 9 as well on this. Right. Video band 11. Discuss this video. No comments. Right. I've got to go to video band 9. I'll do bases first because that's the last video on the list. The reason is because I looked at it, therefore it won't appear on the notifications. Because once you look at a video and look at a comment, it disappears from your notifications, which is a bit annoying. But I will find. There we go. Oh, I've got some comments. Oh, we got sweeps. I've got an and I've got sweeps.
We're in the middle of national security dilemmas.
Wait a minute.
Climate.
Okay. All right. Sweeps. How you doing? Sweeps. Thumbs up, Ben. Another great walkie-talkie road trip. Thoroughly enjoyed your patter with so much knowledge at your fingertips. Fun going on these trips with you. Miles, of course, really extended himself with being able to put such an event together with great speakers. He did indeed, Sweeps. I mean, I passed on your best wishes to him. I know he's a good guy from your side of the water. Absolute hero. And Hugo Rune says here, enjoying this. Nice one, Ben. Thanks, Hugo Rune. Hugo Rune always comments on BitChute as well. Right, now I've got to go to video band 9, so I'm going to. The easiest way to do it is just probably to go through my catalogue, scroll down through it if I can get it open. Unfortunately, I don't have to scroll very far because because I get so many videos banned, don't I? I do hope it will come to an end at some point. discuss this video.
Before
Right.
bed tonight, try saying these 9 simple words to help attract money while you sleep. These words were...
Video.
Okay, right. We got dragonspaw.blogspot.com. Right. This is a video on this old video here. If you heard the testimony from the women he has screwed over, and what the Canadian Indians have said, you'd go nowhere near this self-serving scam artist called Kevin Annett. The latter disavowed all contact after he used them for narcissistic fundraising. Alright, dragonsport.blogspot.com. If you listen to my interview with Kevin Annett on HPANWO Radio, you will know that I don't believe that's true. I believe that Kevin was smeared in that respect. I think he had a lot of lies told about him. And that's so. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail now, but I don't believe he did any of those things you accused him of. And I believe the people in the Canadian Aboriginal community, the First Nations, are actually, some of them are working for the state and for the church. All right. You disagree? That's fine. We'll have a discussion about it. But that's my position, and I do give reasons for that on HPANWO Radio. Okay. Now we're going to go through the notifications. As always, good old notifications, which you get on. Oh, what's happening now? They're supposed to. Right, we're just going to scroll down. Yep, this is a good old Ray, who is a hero of free speech. I think BitChute, his gift of BitChute is, I think, extraordinarily good and extraordinarily important. But he sort of he has sort of, it's weird that he set up his offices in the UK. He lives in Thailand. He set up his offices in the UK, which seems kind of like okay. It's taking a long time. I'm going to actually have to do some pauses in this, I think. All right, guys. Notifications on BitChute don't seem to be working at the moment, so I'll come back to them later and see if they're running again. What I'll do now is I'll go to Odyssey, and we'll come back. We will come back later to BitChute to see if it's playing ball. So what I'll do is I'll go to all the comments that have arrived since the last reply to comments video and see what I get. Here we go. Notifications. Right. Oh, I've only that's odd. My comments. I've got 3 here. I mean, there should be more than that. Funnily, I think the red ones are not showing now. I don't know why that is. Here we go. All. Sorry, guys. I'm just having a few technical problems here. New comments, right? There we go. So it's Ben in the Desert part 3 of. It's all Ben in the Desert, and it's Ivan Kozhedja. So what we'll do is we will go to those videos and see what he has to say. Right, here we go. Right, oh, we have autoplay, of course, and we have Ivan who says here. Interesting series, thanks for uploading. I wouldn't have heard about this event otherwise. You do seem to have beef with a lot of people. You mentioned Andrew Johnson and I think Nick Pope this time. You left out Richard Dolan. Oxford is at roughly 52 degrees, not 55 degrees as you said. Newcastle is at about 55 degrees. Oh, right, we're talking parallels here, right, latitudes. Oxford is at about 18 degrees or 1,250 miles north of Indian Wells, which is on about the same latitude as Casablanca or Beirut. And the sun isn't just stronger in the USA, there are more hours of sunshine per year, strikingly so. Alright, it's only about 125 miles from Indian Wells to Los Angeles, not about 200 as you said at 135.44. Right, well, Ivan, thank you very much for the various little snippets of information and corrections. Yes. Right. Thank you for. It's always duly noted. Now, I do have a beef with. I don't have a beef with a lot of people. I think I have beef with fewer people than most. I think I have a beef with fewer people than most. Actually, I do have a beef with Andrew Johnson and with Nick Pope and indeed with Richard Dolan, and I've explained why. There's specific reasons why I have I avoid the company of those people. And I think they're good reasons. And so there you go. Anyway, I am glad you enjoyed this. And, well, you can always get to future events now you know about it. Right, so that's Ivan Kozhedja. Now, 2 of 3. And we have Ivan again. Informative, says Ivan. Oh, you're very welcome, Ivan. I'm glad you find it informative. There's more videos, more to come, more reportages. And finally, 1 of 3, and it's Ivan Kozhedja again. He's the only pun who's commented on YouTube. Sorry, always get your bloody things right. He's the only one who's commented on Odyssey on this particular video. If the notifications are working properly, because I mean BitChute's notifications don't seem to be working. Alright, so that's Odyssey done. Alright, so I'll go back to, I'll just have a quick look at, no, they're still not working. Alright, I'll try again later. Alright, so now we're going to go to Rumble. And I've got loads on Rumble, if I remember rightly. Well, I'll go through the, what I'll do is first, I'll go through the content first of all. So go back to reply to comments 97. What's weird about Rumble is they don't always appear in the right order in my catalogue. That's okay. And oh yes, we've got loads here. Gravity Mirror. Yeah, Gravity Mirror's been quite vocal on Rumble. Gravity Mirror, oh, actually, I know Gravity Mirror because they post under another name on Odyssey, which I won't reveal. And they haven't given me permission to reveal who they actually are. But they are someone who does regularly post on Odyssey, comment on Odyssey as well. Gior with this counter-jihadist BS, says Gravity Mirror. Give over with this counter-jihadist BS. Alright, is it BS that there are people who oppose, who basically are against, like the Tommy Robinson, Douglas Murray type people who believe that Islam is the big threat and it has to be countered? Because if those people don't exist, I'll call it BS, but they do. Okay. Jihad is the Islamic term equating to Christian evangelism. Both can be violent or non-violent. Both can be corrosive to indigenous cultures. Alright, okay, Gravity, so what you're basically saying is it's a form of terminology. We're talking about terminology here. Okay. Jihad, I know jihad can mean many things, but the counter-jihadist people are specifically against things like grooming gangs, terrorism and stuff like that. Gravity continues. Steve Attridge, Maya Tusi and Tommy Robinson are not counter-jihadists. They are counter-jihadists. They are Islamophobes. Right, well, the difference between those two things tends to be, I think, on people's point of view. And there's a lot of rhetoric in both of those terms. So I think there's a very subjective element to this. But anyway, I'll carry on here. Gravity says, they spend all day on the streets or behind a keyboard inciting hatred against Muslims and conning white British people into thinking Muslims are their enemy. As you can see, woke terminology does sometimes have meaning and valid uses. Alright, well they haven't, I don't believe all of them do that. I think this could be what a lot of them want to do. I don't know about certain individuals. I know that it hasn't worked on me. And it hasn't worked on a lot of people that I know. Gravity says, we would give them the same right to speak freely as everyone else, but it's interesting that YouTube doesn't touch these people and is also full of videos made at Speaker's Corner showing Christians and Muslims berating each other, sometimes getting violent. Anyone making a similar reference to Judaism would have their account taken down in an instant. Right, well you see, the people like Jonathan Cohen, he says the opposite. He says that it's the what you said about YouTube and other people are coming down hard on individuals. They'd say that about the Jews. They say that it's Jews who are subjected to a lot of media censorship, and it's the Muslims and those people who are not, like the Palestinian supporters who are not. So, again, which is true? They can't both be true. So anyway, Speaker's Corner, I'm pleased to say there is more. I mean, to be honest, I was getting fed up with the way the Muslims were dominating Speaker's Corner. And, well, firstly, Jonathan Cohen, he goes there a lot. And the guy from the Israel advocacy movement, the Geordie bloke, he goes there a lot. And then there's Christians turning up as well. I mean, it's nice to see an opinion, different opinions there. Anyway, Gravity then says this. Right. I'll put a thumbs up on that comment because I think it's nice that he makes these comments because he is quite an interesting person to talk to. Right, so random characters after the comment, as always. Gravity Mirror. Why is the antiquity of the phenomenon of significance when it comes to animal mutilations? What's the big difference between the 1950s and 70s? And don't say 20 years. The first documented crash retrievals were in the late 1940s, so it would make sense if animal mutilations and human abductions using retro-engineered technology started a few years later, in the 50s. Right. The big difference between firstly, maybe there's not a big difference between the 1950s and the 1970s, but I think there is. I think there is something of a difference between the 1950s and the 1870s, because crash retrievals do date back. Well, there was a very. I mean, there's a couple of cases from the late 19th century of crash retrievals in various places, and I can't remember the details now, but there's one in Germany in the 1870s. And of course, there's a very, very strong case for a crash retrieval incident in 1897 in Aurora, Texas. Now, I think you agree there's a big, big difference. We're talking about well over 50 years between one and the other. And certainly, in terms of Aurora and Roswell, it was exactly 50 years. There is a big difference between those two events. And what's more, this goes back further. I mean, Robbie Graham, the late departed ufologist, talked about an incident in the Roman Empire where they came across what they called a flying shield, and they put it in a temple. Are you telling me that there were retro-engineering anti-gravity craft in Rome, in ancient Rome? And indeed, the antiquity of the phenomenon goes back much further. For example, Pharaoh Tutmosis III in, I think, 1800 BC recorded what is actually quite a well-documented UFO experience in ancient Egypt. And indeed, the book of Ezekiel from the Bible, which was written sometime in the first millennium BC, it appears to be some kind of like UFO report seen through modern eyes. Gravity Mirror says, "It's a pity that people with scientific training have been discouraged from getting involved in ufology due to the woo-woo stigma." Yeah, to be honest, Gravity, you've got a point there. There are idiots and trolls and hotheads and fools in ufology, and it does put some people off. Ryan Graves very famously walked out of the Mexico hearing a few months ago because Jaime Maussan brought on these bloody puppets made from pieces of human bones from a grave and llamas' heads and things like that. Yeah, that is unfortunately is a pity, and it's true. This left the field wide open to be dominated by journalists, historians, and others who fell asleep during science lessons at high school. I don't think that's quite fair. I mean, you're talking about people who often have a good understanding of science as well as history, generalists and people like that. Anyway, he carries on. Scientific thinkers would have rejected so many of the crappy explanations for these phenomena which have been entertained and put into print by people like Linda Moulton Howe and Richard Dolan. I think, yes, in some cases they would. Now, to be fair, I think Linda Moulton Howe and Richard Dolan play a very valuable part in this community, and I think they are good at what they do, and I think they're honest, and a lot of what they put forward is true, and they provide good reasons why. But not everything. Not everything. Linda especially, I think, tends sometimes to follow very speculative and unsupported leads. But generally, I think they are both very honest, good journalists. And like I said, I have my personal issues with Richard Dolan, but the personal issues are personal, and I keep them separate from professional. But anyway, thanks for those comments there, Gravity Mirror. We'll go now on to Ben in the Desert, part 1 of 3. We have lots here. Right, we have here Gravity Mirror, who says, "I've heard you." Posted this comment before. Okay. "I've heard you disparage Richard Dolan before. What have you got against him? How does a picture of his wife tell you anything about him?" All right. If you've heard me disparage Richard Dolan before, you may understand why this is. It is actually because of several occasions. I mean, I'll repeat it, okay? Because I do mention this in a video called Meadows. In 2011, and there's actually several occasions, because several times when he came over for the Leeds Exopolitics Expo, I went out for him and a few other people for a meal and a drink, and he behaved in, I think, a very antisocial manner. He was arrogant, he was rude, he insisted on being the centre of every conversation, and he was snappy and I think sarcastic and unpleasant to several people, including well, not he wasn't actually unpleasant to me or sarcastic to me, but he made a point of he did actually say something at one point in front of my partner Susan while he was talking to her, which I thought was unpleasant. And if I had a press pass to the conference. If I hadn't, I would have probably been quite rude back to him. That's why. How does a picture of his wife tell you anything about him? All right. You get like a look. We're going to get into Stefan Molyneux's sexual market value here, and are you a 1 or a 10, and things like that. How to tell a millionaire from behind, and all these other things. Okay. You get conventional status, right? Conventional status among women, it tends to be conventional good looks. All right, women are very competitive about these things, and now if you see a woman of high status with Richard Dolan, and you see a woman of high status with me, someone who is not very well off, and indeed it tends to be cooperative rather than competitive with other men. Be honest, which would surprise you the most? Which would surprise you the most? Because the fact of the matter is that men who are in our, it may be a social thing. I mean, Molyneux talks a bit about this. It's to do with the way society is recognised. That in a very socially Darwinistic society, men who are cruel and unpleasant to other men are more likely to be successful, and therefore they're more likely to attract women of high status. I mean, I hate this whole idea of status and sexual market values and things like this. I'm not actually. I'm often attracted to women who are not conventionally good looking, women who are sometimes elderly and sometimes overweight. The reason is possibly to do with the way they come across in terms of personality. But the fact of the matter is, you say I think. I don't know how old you are, Gravity Mirror. I think you're male, but if you're above a certain age and you're male, I don't believe you are that naive as to realise that a picture of his wife doesn't say anything about him. Especially my experience of him myself. Okay, here we go. Richard Dolan is an objective researcher. Linda Moulton Howe is not, and neither is Steve Bassett, although the latter does deserve credit for creating an exhaustive archive of everything ufology disclosure related. Right, I think all three of them are objective good researchers. They're not all perfect, as I've just explained. I have my criticisms of all three. With Dolan it's primarily personal, with Linda and indeed Steve makes mistakes too. It's more rational. But I think they're all good researchers and objective researchers. I wouldn't go all that way just to watch LMH. I stopped watching Earth Files at the end of 2023 after 2 years or so, because every episode started to seem like a trite rehash of the same old crap. To be fair, she's done good work in bringing a lot of material facts relating to UFOs into the public domain, but that seems to be where it ends. She's hopelessly inept at drawing sensible conclusions from the facts she has elicited. Right, I actually think that's unfair. I think it does. I think that could be applied to some of her programs, and indeed some of the things she's said. But generally speaking, I consider her very good. I consider her one of the best people in the field. I think, if I was in a negative mood, I'd probably focus on some of the more less reputable things she's done and said. But to be fair, generally, I think she's good. I think Linda Moulton Howe is an asset to this community. Oh, sorry, I'll just reopen that because there was another comment on there, wasn't there? Reopen last close tab. Right, there was another one. Where was it? Because Gravity Mirror said something. No, X Series says here. Where am I now? Okay. That one's done. Okay, X Series. Hello, X Series. Right. Reply. Okay, so again, I can't post the same comment more than once on the same platform, so I'll go like that and then click. Right, there we go. Right, how am I doing for time? Hello again, Ben. Please give us your expert opinions about the Lockerbie false flag attack. Rumble video below on your next reply comments video. Alright, well, this depends how long it is. X series. Let's have a look. Okay, let's have a look how long it is. Vishnu's Dream. Right. Oh, it's a channel. It's a channel. Vishnu's Dream, Stephen Greer, the Lockerbie false flag attacks, UFO secrets, Dr. Stephen Greer, covert Starseed DNA stealing UFO secrets. All right, I think I've seen that one. Have I seen these? I've watched this one. Look, it's got a progress bar on it. I haven't watched this one. That's 15 minutes long. I will look at it, and I've already sort of half watched one of them, but I'll watch the other one too. But thanks very much. Thanks very much, X Series. I will do that. I do appreciate your input. And there's this other link here. Right, you are. Right, here we go. Now, Gravity Mirror says here. Okay. Oops, no, I've got to put the. I've got that on my clipboard now. So. Right. Okay, so these are strange times. I find myself defending Diane Abbott. That is strange times indeed, mate. What she said in her original letter, amounting to nothing particularly controversial, and wasn't untrue. If she had confined her remarks to a comparison of gypsies and black people without mentioning J words, nothing would have been said, and she would still be in the Parliamentary Labour Party. What does that tell you? I think the point you're trying to make is that J words have some special status. Now, I don't agree with that, and indeed I've done an entire video about that, which you can watch. It's banned from YouTube, ironically, even though it's debunking anti-Semitism. So I think what it says is basically that she was in a position where finally the Labour Party had an excuse to get rid of her. And it's funny enough, she's managed to wheedle her way back in a little bit. Oh, she won't get on the cabinet again. Well, she might do after the election, but they're hoping people have a short memory. But they know very well that she's a liability, a complete liability. She's built an entire cotton wool clad career, as I've explained, doing almost nothing except saying, "I'm a black woman," and she's totally unqualified. She can't barely count the fingers on her hand. And every time she opens her mouth, she costs Labour 100,000 votes. So, I mean, you're defending Diane Abbott because I think you believe there's some kind of the J words have some kind of special status within the establishment. I don't. But if you want to go and watch the video, J's, and you disagree, please do go ahead, and we'll have a discussion about it if you think I'm wrong. Right. So. Ben in the we have now Ben in the Desert 2 of 3. The last one I did was 1 of 3, I think. Okay, so right. Gravity Mirror says, I'm still mystified by the obvious dislike you have for Richard Dolan. I cannot find a historical reason for it on HPANWO. And I said I'll explain in the next. I put a text comment. I'll explain in the next reply to comments video, and I have done. So yeah. I hope I provided an adequate explanation for you. It's a personal issue between me and him, but what's this? All right, here we go. Right, 3 of 3. Gravity. Oh, green tea. Right, I've got Gravity Mirror and green tea. All right, so. Here we go. Right, so I'll just add a few random letters of the alphabet there. Here we go. Right, just to clarify an earlier comment, I don't want to belittle the decades of thorough investigative work by LMH and Steve Bassett. But these people are not dot joiners and can't or won't make a meaningful connection between UFOs and geopolitics. Their instinct is to default to American exceptionalism and flag-waving patriotism. They believe that all needs to happen is for the US government to wake up to the issue and do the right thing. They believe that when that happens, and they think it inevitably will, then everything will be fine. Right, that is Steve Bassett's position, I think. It's fair to say that is what Steve Bassett thinks, and I think he's wrong, and I've explained why. I love Steve. I think he's a great man. I'm very fond of him. But he has made that mistake, and you're right. LMH, though, I don't think LMH has that position at all. Also, to be fair, I don't think Steve is really into American exceptionalism. I mean, he's very interested in foreign countries and what they have to say. Okay, Gravity carries on. By contrast, Richard Dolan is wise to the connection between geopolitics and UFOs. He joins most of the dots and understands why disclosure is unlikely without other big menacing societal shifts. He understands the true corrupt, degenerate nature of the New World Order, and he takes a correct position on things like American intervention in Ukraine and the endless neocon neoliberal drive for war. He refuses to engage with woke talking points, which LMH and Bassett have been keen to embrace. Have LMH and Bassett engaged in woke talking points? I haven't noticed. I think I would if they did, because I'm very anti-woke. Apart from that, though, you are actually right about Richard Dolan. He is better than Stephen Linder at that. I think he has a better understanding. I think, because I agree with Richard about that very much. Although I'm not as pessimistic as him. Green Tea says here, right. Right. I'm not too far in, but I'm loving hearing about American sports from a non-native. Yeah, you mentioned the mention of the Pentagon on September the 11th. Quite a few fishy things there, from the oddly round hole to the wrong engine that seems to be plopped on the lawn. Yeah. To your self-reflection, I think we all at one point or another wonder where we fit in. I know I certainly have. Then, after I think about it, I'm so grateful I found other weirdos where I could be exactly who I am without wondering if the swirl on my tennis shoes is the right shape to be cool. I love that's a wonderful way to put it, Green Tea. I just don't care, and I think in the last 4 years has proven how valuable being an independent thinker is. Plus, I don't know how great of a thing it is to fit in with so many lost and sick people anyway. So cool to see the last of the souvenirs with Kennedy. Definitely an independent voice of reason. I hope you had a blast. Thank you very much, Green Tea. Great comment. Great comment indeed. Very, very good. Yes, I mean, as Martin Luther King said, it's no state of health to be maladjusted to a sick society is nothing to be proud of or enjoy. Or words to that effect. And Green Tea says here, I guess you've already gone, but just some. Yes, I've gone home. Yeah, but some traveller's notes to anyone from the UK or the whole of Europe: be careful eating too many bread products or things made from flour while you're in the US. American wheat, unless organic, is mostly GMO, and the small amount that isn't is sprayed with glyphosate to dry it out. A few meals won't hurt, but after very much of it, you may have a stomach upset or start feeling overall generally crappy. Many people in the US think they have gluten sensitivity, but have absolutely no problem eating bread or pastries when travelling abroad. Our soda also has ingredients that aren't allowed in the UK because they're toxic. When it comes to food and personal care products, there are literally thousands of products not allowed to be used in the UK, while only 11 are banned here. Basically, if it goes in or on your body when in America, read the label, check the ingredients and the fine print. Check the fine print and the ingredients, and check the fine print, the label ingredients. Green Tea, thank you very much for that advice. And if I was ever in the United States for a longer period, I was only there for 8 days. And the same with Stairway to the Stars, 8 days. I think I should be all right with that short time. But yeah, if I ever was over there for a longer period, I would definitely do exactly what you say. Okay, Witherin, Michaelis, Israel and Hamas. Right, here we go. There's quite a few here. Gravity Mirror says, technical point, I've upvoted this video. The thumbs up box has turned green, but the number still shows 0. Rumble disappoints. Yeah, Gravity, thanks for upvoting it, but in terms of Rumble, it's more likely to be a technical problem than censorship, like it is with bloody YouTube. Okay. Gravity Mirror. The conflict was certainly started by the hidden hand mentioned by Benjamin Disraeli, but that in itself doesn't justify impartiality. The genocide here is of Palestinians by Israelis, not the other way round, and it has been since 1947. Right. Gravity Mirror, as I said in my reply to this commenter on BitChute, I disagree with that. I think there is whether an active genocide is actually in progress. I believe there is incitement to genocide on both sides in this conflict, and I think there always has been. He continues. It's good and right to condemn Israel, and as British citizens to call on our own government to stop giving Israel, in the words of Rishi Sunak, unconditional support. On that, I agree with you on that, Gravity Mirror. In fact, I think we're way too generous with foreign aid generally. And if I was put in charge, I would reduce it considerably, maybe even cutting it completely out and eliminating it, and for all countries. Gravity Mirror says, I'm left wondering why you don't apply the same impartiality to the conflict in Ukraine, which is another war engineered by the hidden hand. Maybe it's because you rightly see NATO as the aggressor, and therefore hope for its defeat in the Israel-Palestine conflict. Israel is most definitely the aggressor. Right. Several people have mentioned this, Ben. They say, well, you sit on the fence with Israel, and you say it's just a foreign ethnic conflict, what does it matter? But you don't do that with Ukraine, Russia. Yeah, that's true. And the reason is, I'm afraid, I don't want to say, yes, but, and just be obstinate, but I think the Ukraine-Russia situation is of great geopolitical importance. It is. It does affect my country directly, and it does affect my demographic directly. For reasons I've explained in the videos I've made made many videos about this specific subject. And so that's there. You may say, well, that's hypocrisy. It's a double standard. I think I explain in the videos I've made about Ukraine and Russia, and the articles I've written, and the interviews I've done on HPANWO Radio, why it's not hypocrisy. It's not a double standard. The two situations are very different. Gravity continues. I don't think this should have any bearing on the conflict, but neither linguistic nor genetic evidence supports the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are Khazarian, Slavic or Germanic in origin. Their Y chromosomes resemble Levantine populations like the Sephardic Jews, Druze and even Palestinian Arabs. Their mitochondrial DNA resembles that of Italian and other southern European peoples. So it seems they are not fake J words, but the product of Levantine men mixing with European women. Alright. Well, I didn't know about that. I mean, I find that obviously the Ashkenazi Jews appear to be. I mean, they have a particular they have a particular look about them in terms of dress and hairstyle and language. But racially, I didn't know there was a big difference. I didn't. I mean, if I'll look into this in more detail. That sounds very interesting to me, and I'm happy to look into it in different. All right. Oh, hang on. I'm reading these comments backwards. Sorry, I'm reading these comments backwards. This is the previous comment he made before that one. Okay. So apologies for reading these backwards. Rumble is not always clear which order these comments go in. Right. Gravity Mirror. I'm beginning to understand why you collaborate with Rin. I like the way she slow cooks her arguments, raking over every detail, looking at something from every angle, and refusing to be rushed, even when you bluntly try to change the subject. She refused in the gentlest way possible and carried on reading her piece. Oh, I don't think did I bluntly try to change the subject? I don't think I did that. I think I afforded Rin every courtesy, and I addressed what she was saying. But Rin is she's a firm but gentle person, and that's what I like about her. I think she is, yeah. Well, you managed to slow cook your way to the key points at 1:11:03. I agree with your people playing the grand chess game analysis and understanding of false flags. I can also hear people saying the J words did Pearl Harbor and 9/11 and 7/10. That's an inaccurate statement which conflates J's in general with Israeli intelligence and its Z-word lobbying precursor. But it's an understandable approximation of how things have been made to appear. Right, I do believe those three things are very much confused. But in this case, I think it's not inaccurate to state there was a false flag involved here. Okay. The conflict did not start on the 7th of October 2023. Alright, so I think I know what you're going to say here. And referring to the events of that day as genocide is disingenuous and perverse use of language. A massacre, it may have been a genocide, it was not. Right. I disagree with that. I think it fulfills the United Nations Convention definition on genocide, and indeed so does the various statements made by Hamas along those lines. But anyway, carry on. Many of the claims made about the day have been shown to be hyperbolic or fictional, like, oh, I'm not going to read that out. No, I don't think it is. Look, there are TikTok accounts. It's not TikTok. There are Rumble accounts where there are videos of this, which I haven't watched. I was a hospital porter for 23 years. I know what evil people are capable of doing to others, and I've had to see it firsthand. I don't want to see any more of it. I still have nightmares about it today, Please don't ask me to confirm or deny what you're saying here. But I from what I've seen from people who have, I believe this was done for real, even if not every single detail was correct in terms of numbers and things like that, and babies and stuff. A horrible evil was done to those people. And as I explained in my interview with Rin, it was done with the approval of the Netanyahu regime. The conflict started in 1947, familiar year for other contexts. Yes, Roswell, where Irgun killers marched defenceless Arabs out of their villages at gunpoint before shooting them in the surrounding hills at point-blank range and appropriating their homes, all ages, both genders. This is ethnic cleansing. Yeah, it is. It also becomes genocide when it marks an expression of intent. The intent ever since that present time has been to displace the Arabs in large tracts of land and replace them with J words. I don't deny any of that. No, I don't. And yeah, it's, to me, this is like not something I think people in the modern world should feel guilty of as such, unless you are part of the regime that wants to continue that. But I know that happened, yeah. There has not been a year since 1947 in which some land has not been taken, creating an increasingly large contiguous area occupied exclusively by J words is the unapologetic policy of the State of Israel. I think it seems to be an opinion of many people in the Netanyahu regime. Yes, it is. Because this can only be achieved by displacing Palestinians, and it is a genocidal policy that makes the State of Israel systematically genocidal. Okay, and I've already answered the second part there in advance. Right, I think I did cover a lot of that with Rin. And as I said, I don't believe everyone in Israel, indeed even in political power in Israel, has that intent anymore, especially since the two-state solution was introduced. However, there are those who do, yes. Sweeps Fox. Hey, Sweeps. How you doing, mate? Well done, Ben, with Rin. Thanks, mate. Thank you. Good scope of and balanced talk on this vital wartime subject and the history of this horrendous subjugation cum genocide of the displaced Palestinians by the international Z-word controllers, and of course you two both agree on the dangers of social media regarding opinions and how this can actually affect your work and life situations. Thanks for the good talk on this. Thank you, Sweeps. I know you do your own videos on this subject, and I know we don't always agree, but I really do appreciate your input. I really do. Right, that's Gravity Mirror done there. Right, now video band 11. I think, how long have I been going for? I'm going to have to, my timer's not worked, so I'm just keeping an eye on the recorder, because this may go on to the 4th hour. Gravity Mirror, here we go, Gravity Mirror, who says here, this is video band 11, alright. Yay, I've voted this one. The box turned green and the number changed to 1 as it should. Thanks, Gravity Mirror. Sigh, the indicator under the show notes says 1 comment, which I take to mean 1 comment has already been posted by someone else. But I can't see the comment. Any comment, we'll see if it changes to 2 comments after I've posted. Enjoy the Basis Project conference. I look forward to your report from it. Thanks very much, Gravity Mirror. And indeed, it now says 1. It says 1 comment now. Thank you very much. Yeah, as I said, this is more likely to be a technical problem with Rumble than I think with YouTube. I don't believe Rumble is has censorious intentions. Right, and we have here. This is the final one on Rumble. Although I'm going to have to go through the notifications. This is the Basis Project reportage. Oops. Right, yes. All right. Put in random letters and numbers. Sweet Fox says, thumbs up, Ben. Another great walkie-talkie. Oh, right. This is the same comment you left on BitChute. So thanks, Sweeps. Thank you very much. Yeah. And Gravity Mirror says here. Oh, I've got a reply here. Oh, is it right? With regard to Normieville, and not fitting in, you are a high empath and have an intellect the size of a minor planet. Well, thank you very much. I think I'm above average intelligence, I'd say, although I'm not. I mean, there's people like, for example, Claire Ray Randall. I think she's very intelligent. I have trouble keeping up with her. But I do score high on the empathic scale. Yeah, I mean, I've done an entire article about that on HPANWO Voice. People with those traits are a very small percentage. This is Gravity talking now. People with those traits are a very small percentage of the population, but even so, In a country of 70 million people, there will still be a few tens of thousands of you. Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely people I've met, yeah. The conferences and seminars feel good because they concentrate kindred spirits in one place. What you're already doing is really the only answer to the culture shock you feel when you get home. Keep looking forward to the next event and keep reaching out to others like yourself on social media. Absolutely, Gravity Mirror, thank you very much. You are one of those people, even though we disagree on a lot of things. I really do appreciate your input very much, and you're one of those people. Thank you for your excellent, fascinating comments on this particular show. Now I'm going to go through the notifications list now. Just see if there's any that I have missed. Okay, just go back to 9 days, 13 days, 21 days. Let's have a look. I've had a few people. Right. Rugmaster's following me. Vishnu Dreams. Oh, Vishnu Dreams is, I think, yeah, I followed them. Momo. Did I follow me? Vishnu Dreams? I'll open it. I'll give them a follow because they've got some interesting videos. There we are. Gravity Mirror commented. Ben in the Desert. Gravity Mirror commented. Ben in the Desert. Rin Michaelis. Ben in the Desert. I'm just looking for any videos that are not my recent uploads. I've got comments on them. Bases. Alright, so I think I might have to go back a bit further. Oxford Graffiti 7. Right, have I answered this one? Oh, I haven't. Right. No, I've the Crafty Nihilist singing "Move Away, da da da, move away." All right. Thanks, Crafty. That's a good job. I go through these comments. Yeah. And Sweeps Fox says here, Ben, Ben, you've got to love it. Graffiti, clever historical adventures, doing art from the shadows, inspired by getting the message out to multitudes of those wanting an alternative and free view of artistic expression. More power to them. Let it ring. Thank you for your great effort here. You're very welcome, Sweeps, and thank you very much for your comment. That's right, both of you. I'm singing "Move Away," move away, do, move away. All right. I don't know that one, Crafty. I'll have to wait till I see you to understand that. Right, so it's a good job I went through my notifications. I'll go back to them, and I'll scroll down a bit more to see if there are any ones I missed. All right. Okay, so I'll go back to notifications. Right. There's Gravity Mirrors. Where are we now? Yeah, Gravity. Right. Reply to comments 97. Video ban 10 green tea. Let's have a look. Green tea. Right, I've replied to that, so I'll just double check I replied to that one by Gravity Mirror on 97. I think I did, because 97 was the last one. I'll just double check I replied to that. Yes, I did. I replied to both of those. Right, that's Rumble done then. That's Rumble done. Let's see if is our BitChute notification still not working. Oh, I'll try refreshing them again. This is not. Unfortunately, this means I might miss a few of the BitChute comments. Oh, right. Not to worry, guys. Not to worry. While I'm waiting, I'll go to do TikTok. I have 2 new TikTok uploads, which have created some. I've created some kind of like some new videos. Yeah. I can't now. Posting notifications is a bit difficult on.
Conspiracies, government.
But not my rabbit hole. That is Terry Joyce. She says, "Hi Hynek, so cute." Let's see if I can. I don't think you can post. Yeah. No, I don't think you can post. You can't like cut and paste things in TikTok, which is annoying. And I said a bit like Orlando, because that's Terry's cat, and Kimmy the Panda says, reminds me so much of my old boy Widget. Does he have a solid head? And I said, solid enough. He seems in good health. It's actually a she, I found out. She eats well and relaxes easily. Kimmy the Panda says, so glad to hear that. Cats are wonderful. Thanks, Kimmy. And so I'll go back to my second video about Hynek. There we go. Whoops, come on. Right. And Terry Joyce says, I love that you're taking care of Hynek. Hynek is a girl, yes, called Loopy. Yes, and this Trampers lady says, this is Christine. Hi, Christine. How you doing? Oh, and Christine says, I tried to send you... Oh, right, this is a lady who I know from the Met at the Bases project who has actually bought a book off me and couldn't pay me at the time. Right, that's TikTok done. Alright, BitChute's completely down, service unavailable. Alright then. Guys, unfortunately this means I might well miss a few BitChute comments, but I'll make a note of any that I didn't cover in this video, and I'll cover them in the next comments reply video. So I'll see you here. Don't forget when it's working again. Don't forget TikTok. There's these ones. Right, I've gone through all my notes. Yes, all my notes are there. Great. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So, yep, that's it. Okay, so now that remains just one more thing to do, is to go back to YouTube. I'll go back to YouTube and see what comments have been left since the last. I'm still within 3 hours. Since while I've been filming this, see if anyone's left any comments while I've been filming this. So that's easy enough to do. I just go to my YouTube notification list and then go and see if there's anyone who has see if anything in the last 3 hours, basically. So let's go back here. So we'll see what we have here. I think is this the one I've actually written? Oh, hang on, this is. Oh, hang on a sec. I have addressed this one, haven't I? This is David Smith. You don't address skepticism. You redefine it. All right, have I addressed this one? Let's just go back to my. This is annoying because I mean this is quite a long comment, and I want to, and if it hasn't, if I haven't addressed it, I want to know. Hang on, here we go. Comments for review. Okay. No, I haven't. You're right. No, right. Okay. David Smith says. You don't address skepticism, Ben. You redefine it to something else, then address that. How do you know, David? How do you know? I haven't even uploaded the video yet. I redefine it and address something else to something else, then address that. Yes, I do, but there's a reason for that, which I explained, David. David says here, this is why I think you will never call in to a skeptic show, specifically about skepticism and how you view it. I've given you links to a listen, and some of them are okay, but you don't get the fundamentals. It's just you saying what you believe and then pointing out lack of evidence. The pushback is very weak in regards to pulling you up on problems in your logic and rationale. I don't understand why you think that. You say I wouldn't call into a skeptic show when I've been interviewed by skeptics, Bowler Hatman, Tristan Swale, and Michael Marshall of Skeptics with a K. So why wouldn't I call into a skeptic show when I've literally been interviewed by them for hours? I have gone to skeptic conferences. I've interviewed skeptics on my show, politely and in a friendly manner, including Tristan Swale, who turned into a cunt and I had to block him. But why do you think that? Anyway, and you've given me links to some shows which I've listened to, and I have listened to, for example, Matt Dillahunty, who you consider to be the sine qua non of barrier over which everyone has to pass, and I don't understand why, when intellectually I think he's a lightweight, and in terms of his manner I think he's more rhetoric than logic. But you know, I have listened to what he's had to say, and you say it's just you saying what you believe then pointing out lack of evidence. Well, what's wrong with that? Isn't that the point? The pushback is very weak in regard to pulling you up on the problems in your logic and rationale. In what way is my pushback weak? I mean, it's certainly not concise. I've dedicated a lot of this video to answering you. Anyway, here we go. If somebody feels sick and sits down and then subsequently dies trying to squeeze in a paranormal mystery, is a bit far-fetched, IMO. Well, it depends what the cause of their sickness and death was. I'm not saying I'm 100% sure on what exactly happened, but there's nothing I've seen to suggest anything other than natural causes. Well, you just see someone sit there and die, right? You're not a doctor. Have you checked their blood pressure? Have you checked them for infection? Have you checked them for heart attacks? I mean, yeah. If someone sits there and they die, it probably is natural causes. Sudden deaths are usually caused by problems with the brain or the heart. That is most likely, but it doesn't rule out other things. If you walk in on somebody with a dead body on the floor, they're holding. Oh right, sorry, I should have finished this paragraph. Okay. If you walk in on somebody with a dead body on the floor, they're holding a lead pipe covered in blood, there is evidence to say they did it. It's not 100%, however. It could have been someone else, but unless you find some compelling evidence, there's nothing to suggest it may have been anything paranormal. Correct. But if you find somebody, for example, lying where, to use the 411 thing, if you find someone lying on a beach in Greece, in a location that's already been searched several times when this person went missing, and the pathology people do an autopsy and they can't find any obvious cause of death, then to say there's two ways of going from there, David. You can either say, well, it obviously must have been some very, very rare type of infection that just vanished after it had done its job, and it can't be detected by the pathology. It has to be that. I know it, because that's most likely. In which case you're entering into the clown's day off fallacy. Or you could say maybe it's worth looking at what David Paulides had to say, and maybe there's a cause there. So I'm trying very hard now to address you on a rational level, and I think you're being unfair when you say you think you know why I would never call into skeptic shows when I already have. Just because I won't phone in and call Delahunty. I don't see any point. He would beat me with bluster, and he would basically play pigeon chess with me. The pigeon kicking over the pieces and pooing all over the board and saying they won the game. That's what he would do. Right, David says, I'm going to write a longer comment because YouTube appears to be going after skeptics now. Joking. When I'll get time, I'll sign up to one of those other sites you're on and comment there instead. Please do, David. Please do. You're very welcome. Still appreciate the videos and find it interesting. Just when these things are asserted as factual, I think it can cause problems. Yeah. But that's what you're there for, David, to see if there is an alternative, because I'm open to the idea there are alternatives. David Smith says here on Reply to Comments 97, these comment reply videos aren't a good way of debating, quote unquote. Things are easily forgotten, points mistaken, can't be corrected in real time, can't easily see the comments thread relating to the latest replies, etc. Well, how do I respond to that, David? Let's have a look. Thanks for your comment. It will be answered approximately within the third hour of the upcoming Reply to Comments video. David, short of actually sitting down and like talking to you or having a one-on-one email conversation with you, I'm afraid this is the best I can do. I don't have time, unfortunately, for any other form of debate with you. I'm very sorry about that. But feel free to join one of my other platforms and we'll talk then. S. Brayman says, thanks for the mention, Ben. What? Thanks for the mention. Hang on, have I accidentally live streamed or something? Surely not. Have I accidentally live streamed? God, I can't have done, can I? No? How come people are saying... How do you know I mentioned you, S. Brayman? Oh. Anyway, alright, I'll do one more refresh of the... And then we'll be done then, because I think YouTube, BitChute obviously is not playing ball with us today, so I'll have to go through later and make a note of the comments I missed. We'll do one more refresh, and here it is. Okay, so refresh, and see if anything new has been added. James Fox releases new clip. Alright, so here we go. Blah blah. Yeah, that's it. Yes, that's everything. And we are literally 2 minutes away from the 4-hour mark. 2 minutes away from the 4-hour mark. So, once again, everyone, deepest thanks for all the comments you've left. Really appreciate it. I will obviously any I've missed on BitChute, I will make a note of, and I'll get back to you on the next Reply to Comments video. What's coming up? Well, I am gonna cover the election because it is turning out to be slightly more interesting than I thought it would be. This doesn't mean vote reform. I have other opinions there, but I will be doing a live stream about that. There's also I also want to go to Swindon. I want to do a video in Swindon, which I would like to do as soon as possible when I get time, and I'll keep you posted with that. Next week, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to an event tomorrow in London, but I think I'll do a written report on that, not video. But anyway, obviously, it goes without saying, without your comments, there will be no reply to comments video. So I must say a big thank you to all of you for the comments you've left on this particular video. It's been a joy going through them. There were no really rude ones this time, but, you know, they're still amusing. Even the abusive ones are amusing. I'm a big ugly ex-hospital porter. I can take it. I give as good as I get. Thank you all of you. We got people with lots of different opinions. I've tried to treat you all fairly. I've tried to examine your cases and give you an honest reply to every single one. I hope I've succeeded. Obviously there'll be more in the next couple of months. I'm doing some more trips, so there'll be more videos on that. Thank you all of you for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, psyops, saucers and black triangles, HPANWO.